To the back post. Knocked down. It's in. It's another early goal. It's Austin Trusty's first career goal for the United States. Guler, nice little dummy that allowed Yilmaz to run onto it, trying to return. Arda Guler able to capitalize on that loose ball in the middle. Beats Matt Turner. Turkey tied the game inside of 10 minutes. Arda Guler out to old Weston McKennie for that loose ball. Nice little move around the outside. Cut back cross. 2-1 Turkey. Orkun Kukcu. Great little sequence. And the U.S. for the first time at this tournament are behind. As McKenzie tries to load up the long throw. Man down for the U.S. Ball's knocked down. Follow-up shot is a goal. It's Sebastian Berhalter who ties the game, and he wants more. Chance for a cross, comes back to the top of the box. Now it's clipped in at the backside. Matt Turner, it's stopped home. Turkey scored the winning goal in the 98th minute. They might be going home tomorrow, but they're going wild now.
All right, a Friday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. An hour from now, we will talk with Matt Derrick. Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. We'll talk some Chiefs football today, obviously. We'll talk some Royals baseball at some point. We will get into the World Cup action that took place in Kansas City throughout the day in Kansas City yesterday. The only disappointing part was that in the middle of the afternoon, the weather did not cooperate, so what could have been an amazing scene at FIFA Fan Fest with Sterling on stage, and also a cool scene with others that are there, but amazing scene on stage with Sterling, and then some cool orange in the crowd was not to be because of the weather, the storms, and they went ahead and for the safety of the fans that would be there, just canceled FanFest the rest of the way, which made the Power and Light living room just sardines in a can, and trying to fit as many people. We didn't even give it a shot. Like, we were down there for the breakaway tour watch party, went down there. Shabuzi performed a little bit. And then we headed over to Power and Light to watch the match. And that was something we probably should have done 4 hours earlier, because it ended up being a new phone who dis from everybody. I'm like, all right. So we ended up in the middle of the first half just driving back home and watching the rest of getting home about halftime and watching the rest of the match there, which the entertaining part was second half anyway of the match. But it was cool in Kansas City, and the Netherlands match, and the goals, and the weather holding off. And by the way, the field was immaculate because the Chiefs have the best grounds crew in the NFL. And so it's not something I ever worried about with FIFA saying you're changing the grass that you use at Arrowhead. And those guys going, cool, bring the challenge on. We'll do whatever you need to do, and we'll kill it, and it'll be a beautiful playing surface that will hold the rain and drain and not have standing water in certain spots. And so that was cool to see, too, that it wasn't remember back in the day when there was that patch of dirt down the middle of the field between the hash marks at Arrowhead at times, and Carl Peterson blamed it on the Wizards / Sporting playing at Arrowhead, and talked about colleges that played there. It was the nicest turf they'd ever play on, and all of that. Now Arrowhead is some of the nicest turf that you'll see out there. So I thought that was cool, putting Kansas City on display. It didn't become well, look, you got this surface. Look, these Americans don't know how to do it. They don't understand what it's like to put a soccer pitch out there. And they did, and it was awesome. And the Netherlands players were talking about how great it was, and the water didn't affect them, and all of that stuff. And then one of the players for the Netherlands was like, well, it rains a lot where I'm from, and I play in England. So
Yeah.
the rain really didn't bother me, but it wasn't like they were running through puddles. So that was cool. Just a quick little aside, because the weather didn't necessarily cooperate throughout the day, but it cooperated for the march. And that's why they moved it up an hour earlier, because when everybody got to Fan Fest and then the skies opened up and it really started raining, luckily they did move that up an hour earlier. That was an amazing scene. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. Arrowhead was awesome, packed with orange. And then, downtown watching Team USA take on Turkey A. And losing in the last minute of the match in added time. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Alexis Guerrero's from the Cooligans podcast will join us coming up in the 1 o'clock hour to talk a little bit about that. They're in Kansas City and hosting their podcast live around Kansas City the last few days and today as well. So we'll talk with him coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Cuts before the show is over as well. We'll get into something George Kittle brought up, which I bring up in relation to what we saw last night, the field at Arrowhead. And we'll talk about we'll talk about Major League Baseball, Jesse Rogers, ESPN MLB reporter, giving the strategy for Major League Baseball and the owners to present the salary cap to the players and how they will go about trying to sell them on the salary cap with actual numbers, but we'll see if it will matter at all to the highest earning players, which we know it probably will not matter at all. 913-912-4810 is the text line to be a part of the show. 913-912-4810 text line to join us and be a part of the show today.
Yesterday was the first time I think in my life I was disappointed to have the day off of work. To have the night off.
Michael, that tracks. That tracks for Sterling. Oh, darn it. I'm actually mad I don't get to go to work
mad,
today.
like sad.
Darn.
No, I love what I do, but this was...
I wish your body and your voice would back that up. Joking.
I feel like last night was almost I don't want to say once in a lifetime, but pretty close. Doing all the fun things on stage. One, for the Netherlands game, rocking the entire orange. I found my orange pants. I went back to my old clothes, found my old orange Blue Hills when I worked at Blue Hills in high school polo. I was going to be oranged out, okay? I was fully going to buy in and rock the stage with the Netherlands fans. And then I had a wardrobe change. I had my American flag pants. I had my American flag USA jersey. I had a cowboy hat. I have a mustache. I was going to go and have so much fun. I might have even smoked a Marlboro Southern Cut on stage. Who knows? Just to try and be electric up there. But I couldn't because the damn weather. This is the second time, not once, but twice. I am cursed, Jason. This is the Sterling stamp. I'm supposed to host FanFest. The weather says, no, pal, go kick rocks. And here I am. So I wanted to work until midnight. Kai Kamara and I were going to have so much fun.
Oh, look at that name over there.
And yet, I stayed at home, sat my ass on the couch, and the first time I think I've ever been disappointed to do nothing.
I did nothing. I did absolutely nothing, and it was everything I thought it could possibly be.
It was worse.
Only for you, it was worse.
I'm
See,
anti-Office Space.
You didn't even go down there and try to brave the power and light and the living room and trying to be in there.
Well, it was too late. I had to wait a little bit because there was a little bit of a waiting time frame, which was even funnier. I had a free ticket to the Netherlands game last night.
And you turned it down.
I said,
you
sorry,
had to
man.
work.
Sorry, I can't make it. I got to work. I get the text. He goes, hey, meet me here at 3 o'clock if you want to go. I get a text at 4. Hey,
Yeah.
we're not reopening.
And you're an hour late.
And $1 short, apparently.
Oh, yes.
So that was a big bummer. A big bummer. That was about worst case scenario. Getting tickets to the game, going to be on stage, and yet I was on a couch.
That's too bad.
I know everyone's so sad for me.
They
right
are
now.
sad for you. They're upset for you. And like, you know what? I wish something would break in your favor in your farcical life.
I wish something good would happen for this guy.
I wish you would finally have something cool take place in your life. But it's just not in the cards for you. Never going to happen, you know? Oh, yeah, rough day for you. But still a cool day around Kansas City. I do want to start, though. We'll get into plenty of World Cup today and things that took place yesterday. Let's start with the Royals, and I do want to talk about a little bit of Major League Baseball as we talk about the Royals here. I think it's worth asking the question, is this just who Seth Lugo is now?
Oh.
Do we wonder, this year we have been talking about, I don't know, man, is the Royals' hot streak right around the corner? They look like they're about to turn it on. They're about to go out there and win like 7 or 8 in a row. Remember last year in May, they went 16-2. That stretch is right around the corner of this team getting hot. And yesterday, the Rays just teed off on him. He's had 2 games in the last 4 starts in which he's given up 3 or more home runs in a start. Now, 2 of the others, he did not give up a home run. That was the one, and unfortunately, he left the game early when he got the comebacker off his head, missed a start, and then returned against the Cardinals, and I thought pitched fine. Pitched better. He was fine in that game. 6 innings, he gave up 2 runs, 1 was earned. He had no strikeouts, but he had 3 walks. But again, only 1 of those runs was earned. The Royals won the game that day, so you feel good about that. And then he goes out yesterday with a chance to win the series. And your job as a pitcher is to keep your team in the game and give the team a chance to win. And the Royals didn't have a chance to win with the 7 runs that he gave up in the 5 innings. Obviously, the Rays pitchers were pitching well. Again, the combined no-hitter through 8 1/3 innings yesterday before Carter Jensen's home run to extend his hitting streak. I'm just making sure my watch is not sending a text right now. It's not. We do have an update to that story as well. But since Seth Lugo signed his extension, which Vinny Pasquantino called a baller move. It's a baller move to go and make the trade for Ryan Bergert and Stephen Kolek, to bring in Bailey Falter, to extend Seth Lugo and not trade him. It's a baller move to believe in the team that didn't make the postseason. Seth Lugo, since signing his contract extension, he's thrown 16 games this year. And last year, after the extension, he made 6 starts. It's a total of 22 starts. And in those 22 starts, he's averaged 5 innings per start. He has a 5.3 ERA and a 1.5 whip.
He's turned into Jordan Lyles.
117 innings he's thrown, Sterling. 48 walks, 90 Ks. 117 innings, 90 strikeouts, 48 walks. In 117 innings, 5.3 ERA, 1.5 whip. Since he signed that extension, that still will pay him $11 million the rest of this year and $21.5 million next year. They still owe him $32 million on the contract that he signed last year after the trade deadline. And in 22 starts, he's averaged 5 innings per outing with a 5.3 ERA and a 1.5 whip.
And if you look at 24, right? 24 may be an outlier to an extent, but that's what you were going off of, because even the start of 25 was a continuation of 24, right? So you had a year and a half of elite performance from Seth Lugo. His walk rate has skyrocketed. The slugging against has skyrocketed. His breaking ball has been the main culprit for this. We know he doesn't have a great fastball. We know that. That's not news. It's not who he is. His slur, you can throw 9 pitches, 10 pitches, whatever it is, all you want. But if 5 of them suck and your fastball's not great, Well, then what does that leave you? Great, you throw all these pitches,
Yeah.
but you're not throwing them for strikes, and when you do, they get shelled.
It's a little bit like, this is the first comparison that came to mind, so this is not about a certain team. This is about really any college team. But Mark Mangino, when the KU was winning, he was a disciplinarian. When they were losing, he was a bully.
Yeah.
Seth Lugo, when he was pitching well, is a freaking baseball magician, savant, genius, and throws 11 or 12 different pitches, and this is awesome. He's struggling. Hey, maybe don't throw 11 or 12 different pitches. Maybe try to master 3 or 4 and go from there.
And that's a very fair point. And at some point, though, when you have no control, it looks like, over any of them at the moment.
Yeah, right. I don't think it's wrong to say that, by the way. I'm more on board with if you are struggling and the command is gone, is it good to continue to throw all these different pitches and different grips that are working different ways as opposed to, you know what, this is what I have to do to get outs, and it hasn't been nearly consistent enough. In those 22 starts, the Royals are 10-12.
And you'll occasionally see a glimpse of, okay, he's figuring it out. A couple starts ago against the Cardinals. Looked pretty good, right? But before that was the comebacker, obviously, so we left that game early. And prior to that, he gave up, 5 runs and 5 innings.
Yeah.
Then before that, he gave up, 1 earned run in 6. Is he figuring it out? Like he's
right.
gone.
It's gone back and forth.
He had that.
There's the Seth Lugo we remember.
Well, because to start the season, it was great.
Mm-hmm.
All of March, he had, basically 6 starts, 5 starts, and I guess March and April combined. And he was amazing. And we thought, okay, this is the Lugo the last half of the season was the outlier. Well, now it's happening again. And this is, July or August when we found out he tired? Remember you had those numbers?
Yep.
This is early. It's just, it's halfway through the season, but it's still too early for you to have this sort of fatigue.
Yep.
To blame that. What sucks is he's paid a lot of money, and he was going to be a good trade piece if you were losing.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore. Not anymore. I mean, the reason why Drew Peterson might even go for more than Lugo, because you don't have to pay him $20-some million the next year.
Yeah. David Peterson.
But
it's close.
Drew Peterson. He's also a player, I think.
Sure. I mean, he's probably a person. He's probably a person that's played a sport.
He probably is. I
assume
so.
There is a person alive that played baseball at some point at any level of baseball.
At any level.
Named Drew Peterson.
I
agree.
So the Royals do have a Seth Lugo problem because with the amount of injuries they have sustained, Lugo and Waka were supposed to be your consistents. Those are your constants.
Mm-hmm.
Waka's done his job.
Oh, yeah.
Lugo has not.
Yeah, Waka's earned the Lugo contract.
Correct.
And Lugo hasn't even earned close to the Waka contract, which is $7 million less per year than what Lugo is making. Now, in that 10-12 stretch that the Royals are when Lugo takes the mound since signing the contract extension in the 22 games, again, the Royals win-loss, not his actual record as a pitcher, but the Royals win-loss is 10-12. So they're 2 games under 500 with him on the mound. They have averaged 3.5 runs per game when he's been out there. There are also some losses in which they've scored 7, 5, 5, 5, 6, and 2 other games where they scored 4. It's not the 27 Yankees. But finding ways to win games when your team doesn't score many runs, that's what somebody that's getting paid $21.5 million per year. Somebody that's 10-12 in 22 games as a starter with the team is somebody that should be your 4th or 5th starter, that it's like, you're close to 500 and that guy's on the mound. Yeah, you'll take it. Not somebody who's making the most money as a starter and the most money on the team, he and Salvi.
Well, and the thing is, we knew that he was a guy who traditionally exceeded underlying metrics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just based on how his style is. But he didn't walk a lot of guys, which obviously helped the overall numbers because it keeps your whip down, fewer base runners, the entire magnitude of that. But even in 24, when he had a 3 ERA, his expected ERA was a 3.75. Right? I mean, it's not
right.
I mean, yes, it's different, but it's not this, oh my gosh, he is vastly outperforming that. His expected ERA last year was 5.16. His expected ERA this year is 5.24. There's a lot of dark blue on the Savant page. And by the way, dark blue is bad. That is the depths of the ocean. That is the Marina Trench. He is in a lot of... There's nothing that screams this is an outlier or he's going to progress back to who he was. No, this screams it's going to get worse. This screams that 4.18 ERA is being buoyed by the early season success, and this is about to get worse.
Well, and the issue you run into is if you look at the Royals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the Royals' top 10 players' salary this year. Top 10 players, top 10 highest paid players on the Royals this year.
Oh, 7 are injured?
Well, here are the top 10 in order. Lugo, Waka, Bobby, Salvi, Estevez, India, Strom, Bubic, Lane Thomas, Reagans. So you've got Lugo that's been bad. Waka's been consistent. Bobby's been awesome, but, they played without him for a week. Salvi has struggled. Estevez has pitched less than an inning. India's out. Strom is a home run machine. Bubic is injured. Lane Thomas is doing his job. Cole Reagans is probably on the shelf for the season. There's your top 10. But this team, the Royals, in this market, can't spend, that is, 5, 15, 30, 40, 50, 64, 84, $92 million, $102 million, $102 million with their 10 players, $102 million and get Waka, Bobby, Lane Thomas as a role player.
That have done their job. Because the other 7 are Lugo, Salvi, Estevez, India, Strom, Bubic, Reagans. Yeah.
You got 3 guys out of your $102 million top 10 that are performing. I mean, the fact that they're only 14 games under 500 might be where you go, you know what? Manager of the year, Quatrero. Now that's going to go ahead and mark that and send it out to the masses because Quatrero is the reason why this team sucks, according to a lot of people. But that's also where JJ has to look in the mirror. Because the front office's job is to see what 2026 is going to look like with Seth Lugo. And do we trade him now, or do we sign him to an extension and keep him around next year? I
will also point out that that was a difficult decision. I think at the time
we hadn't gone on this run yet.
Well, he had literally had a year and a half of basically 3 ERA ball.
There was nothing, and to their defense, there was nothing to say that this was ahead of him. They signed him to an extension, and he had a 3 ERA.
Yeah.
He had that in 2024, and he had that through, 20 starts.
So 50 plus.
In 2025.
So 50 plus starts.
He had a 3 ERA with the Royals.
50 plus starts. There was no reason to believe. And again, I appreciate the Royals doing it. Mm-hmm. I have no issue at the time with them doing it, but you're right. They just didn't get it right. You have to get it right, especially when you are not the Dodgers or the Yankees. The Dodgers can mess up on Kyle Tucker and be okay.
Right.
The Royals can't mess up on Seth Lugo and be okay.
Yeah, they can't give
there are levels to this.
Yeah, they can't give Seth Lugo an extension that pays him $21.5 this year, $21.5 next year. And since he signed that extension in the 22 games, he's got a 5.3 ERA. Now, that is maybe the worst possible luck and timing that you could think of, is that, except for my fantasy trade last year, in which I traded a number of my keepers long-term to try to win last year, and part of the trade was Emmanuel Clase for saves. And after I made the trade 3 days later, the news came out. That's bad timing. I feel for JJ. He and I both have had that situation in our lives, okay? I gambled on Clase. And just like him, we
did too.
We both lost. Well, Sorsby bet on himself.
It didn't pay out.
Yeah, he missed. If only he had inside information, the NFL was not going to approve his supplemental draft, because now that he dropped his lawsuit, he can't go back to college and go, hey, can I get that injunction again? Can we do a do-over on the injunction?
Go back to Lubbock, they'll do it.
Yeah, total sidebar there. But it's incredibly terrible timing that Lugo was the model of consistency and an under-the-radar great find and signing by JJ of no stone left unturned. Nobody's giving Lugo this chance. The Royals will. And they give him the 2-year contract to be a starter. You found him. And look what he's done in these 50 starts. He was top 2 Cy Young the year before, and he's looking just like he did last year. And he and Bubic and Waka, the reasons why you sort of have a chance. Now, Bubic had just gone on the IL before they gave him this contract extension, which also might have been part of the reasoning of, well, we do have Bubic next year, but he's injured again. So it's nice to have Bubic next year. Reagans is injured still, so it'd be nice to have Reagans next year. Can we go into next year relying on Bubic and Reagans, and then if we trade Seth Lugo, we go in next year saying it's really Waka, and we don't want to punt on next year? But that's where you have to get it right. JJ's in a position that is tougher than other GMs. But you know what?
It's not the hardest, though. I will also point that out, too.
But also, he has one of 30 jobs in the world. There are only 30 jobs in the world to be a Major League Baseball general manager. He has one of them. So you can bitch and moan and cry and complain about, finances, which I don't think he does. Or you can figure out a way to work around it, which I think he's tried to do. And he's presented his case to John Sherman as to why maybe they should open the purse strings a little bit for certain people. That was for Michael Waka. They clearly opened the purse strings for Seth Lugo last year. Now, if I'm John Sherman, I would wonder with JJ and his team, was this preventable? Was there anything that said, because he wants to be analytical, he comes from the Guardians, right? He took over with the Royals. They immediately started investing in analytics, right? So what happened with this player to go from that to this? And were there signs that we ignored that we can't ignore again? Or is this just something that nobody could have seen coming, and he's just a completely different person and had the contract extension come up like a month or a month and a half later, maybe a delay a little bit to see what he looks like, but it was almost literally night and day from right up until the extension to since. And that's unfortunate. But it's still worthy of a question from John Sherman to the front office about what did you see, what did you miss with Seth Lugo when you gave him this contract? Because I'm writing a check for this man for $45 million. And that $45 million has a 5.3 ERA right now. I can't pay $45 million for Jordan Lyles. If I'm paying $45 million, I need somebody that's going to go out there and be as good or better than what I'm paying Michael Waka, which is $32 million. I got to be better. We got to find that. It's a situation, it's a tough spot in terms of the finances, but it also puts a spotlight on the decisions you make at the top of your payroll. You can't get wrong. Correct. You got to get those right. You killed it with the Bobby signing. 100%. Takes two to tango. Bobby was interested, wanted to sign, wanted to be around. It was all great. They spent the money in the offseason, which also spending that money helped them save on Bobby. Because if they don't spend that money, they probably have to pay more for Bobby because you had to convince Bobby that you were being serious. So you spent money. Bobby said, you're serious. Obviously, I'll take less money now than what I would get as a free agent in a couple of years. When I hit free agency or even through arbitration, I'll take it now, and I'll make $14 million in 2026 and $20 million in 2027 and $30 million in 2028. Like Bobby Witt Jr. is well over a $30 million player right now, and the next 2 years combined, he's making $34 million.
Yeah.
So JJ killed it. Great job. But you can't rest on your laurels of that win. they have to make a decision, and they have to learn from last year. They were sort of in it. They were close. You were getting sort of antsy that maybe right around the corner another run was going to happen. Let's not sell Lugo because we're not getting the money we're not getting the return we deserve. Let's go and buy Bergert and Kolick and Falter and extend Lugo, and let's make a run this year.
My outlier conversation has been made more and more correct. The outlier of Lugo, the outlier of Garcia, the outlier of Vinny. Yet again, if you had trade value that you were looking at trading some dudes, you missed the boat.
But at least for
you re-signed all of them.
But at least for Michael, this year, 27 and 28, they owe him a total of $21 million.
No, I don't argue that.
Right.
Of any of the ones,
they're not paying Michael $20 million a year.
My point was, though, of all the three guys that had outlier seasons, they pretty much extended.
Yeah.
Instead of trading or saying, hey, let's see it again.
Yep.
Because they didn't do that.
They extended or didn't trade. Extended, and didn't move because the value was too great that you felt on that guy. And now you'll never come close to the value you had last offseason for Cole
While
Reagans.
The Brewers with Isaac Collins said this is the outlier season, and now's the time to move.
Let's get rid of this guy. We get rid of this segment. We take a timeout. More Zone next.
On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel is changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Oh, no. I had, I don't know, whoever Pulisic came in for. I had that guy for Team USA. I had that dude.
I doubt it.
I had it for a shot on goal. And what happens? He goes out in the 60th minute. My bet's gone? I'm done? Well, that seems a little silly. I didn't get a full game of said dude. Oh, no. Not anymore. FanDuel says that's dumb. FanDuel's right. That is dumb. And so they changed the game with FanDuel's Super Sub. If your player is subbed out, your bet stays in. So if you had the guy who Pulisic came in for, you now have Pulisic. Yes, that is how this works. So if your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. It seems simple, it seems smart, and that's because it is. FanDuel wants to help you. They help me, and I enjoy this because now I am in it until the final whistle. It is all right there on FanDuel. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/local to get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
21 plus in President, Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We'll talk to Matt Derrick coming up at 11 o'clock. Alexis Guerrero's from the Cooligans Soccer Podcast. They are in town doing their podcast around town. We were at the breakaway tour last night with the watch party for the Netherlands match. And then after that was over, your boy Shabuzi performed, Sterling, at the watch party. We headed to...
I like Shabuzi.
Show right. Shay, you do. You Shabuzi today. Anyway, we left to head to Power and Light to watch the Team USA match as they took on Turkey A with the USA Team B and end up losing that one. Let's play this clip from Jesse Rogers. This is clip number 2 here, Michael. And Jesse Rogers, MLB insider for ESPN, talks about the proposal that Major League Baseball has sent to the players. And part of the proposal is the salary cap, obviously. There are other things that probably won't get passed, like having a maximum 5-year contract for the players who are signing 10-year deals. I don't think they're going to get that passed. But anyway, maybe that's throwing that out there and going, okay, we'll negotiate that out. Okay, sure. You got to do that. You got to throw in there something that you don't actually want, but you feel like you need it, that you're going to fight for it, so you can give that up and act like you just gave in. But anyway, here's Jesse Rogers talking about what MLB's selling point will be to try to convince the players that a salary cap is in their best interest.
The salary growth of Major League Baseball players has actually gone slower than the other leagues who are in a cap system. This would create a partnership between the league and the union where they'd both be invested to grow the sport and grow the revenues. This is what's happening in the other sports. This is something they're going to hammer home until this thing gets figured out. The idea that the rate of growth of salaries has actually been slower than the other players in the leagues with a cap system. That's why they think the players should go along with it.
It won't matter to the higher paying players because their salary is still their salary. It continues to balloon. Kyle Tucker getting what Kyle Tucker is getting would not happen in a capped system.
Correct.
But the part about the salary growth being behind the other major sports with salary caps is a point that I would want the Major League Baseball Players Association to acknowledge or at least examine to see how true that claim is. Because as any accountant will tell you, I can move some things around in a different column and take a $10 million profit, make it into a $10 million loss. I can do some things around here to make it look a certain way. Oh, hey, look, the growth of these salary-capped sports salaries are actually growing at a higher rate than Major League Baseball. But the reason I find it to be accurate, without even having to dive into the numbers, is what's the benefit for a Pirates, even a Royals, a Twins, a Guardians, a Rays, a White Sox, to say, let's go spend $250 million. Or we spend the 120 and we try to win our division, make the playoffs. It's not like we're making bank on our ticket sales. We're not going out of business if we have 1.5 million fans as opposed to 2 million fans. That's not going to put us behind the 8 ball. We're still on the budget we're on. So why would we go out and say, let's increase our payroll if it's not going to make that significant of a difference? And the significant difference makers are way out of your price range anyway.
Yeah.
So incremental increases, that's not going to grow the game. It's not going to grow the salaries across the sport. There is no incentive right now to spend to a certain level for these teams, which, as we talked about,
they lose money. I mean,
there would be if there's a salary floor, which would bring about, Sterling, the revenue sharing, which should have been happening a while ago. But Major League Baseball and the owners being for revenue sharing should be a great deal for the Players Association, because that means there is more money that they would be required to spend.
Yeah, and even with the Kyle Tucker situation, he might still get it. It just won't be it with the Dodgers. It would be with the Miami Marlins.
Right. It might be the Rays or the Twins or the Guardians or the Royals who needed an outfielder.
And because you have to spend a certain amount of money,
right,
it should also bolster the veterans, the Starling Martes and the Lane Thomas of the world will get, larger contracts as well. I mean, I just don't understand to an extent. I get some of the things. The 5-year max contract, dumb. If you're a player, there's no way you take that.
No.
But I can't.
Even the NFL salary cap has a 10-year deal with Patrick Mahomes.
I just find it so funny that the top 15 players can somehow convince the other nearly 1,000 that they're wrong. Because all the other young players or veterans who are not on those big deals should want the salary floor. That should be a massive benefactor. That means you will get more money because teams have to hit that. There was an issue, 6 years ago, 7 years ago? It's changed a little bit now, where all those veteran players could not get jobs. There was about 6 years ago, it was right around COVID time. And probably because COVID had a factor as far as the salary cap, not as much money. But all those veterans couldn't get deals because all these teams are going, we'll just save money and just call up a guy from AAA instead of paying you $7 million. With the salary cap floor, now those veterans are back getting jobs. And a lot of times those veterans are actually going to make your team at least a better right now. Maybe not in the long run, but right now. I'm all for a floor. I get you're going to have to have a little back and forth here. But if you are a player who's not one of the top 15, you should. Vinny Pasquantino should look long and hard. I know him on Twitter yesterday, and he was pissed. But I don't know if you're looking at the full picture, because Vinny is a guy who would be been affected by having a floor.
But it's also like you can translate this to just everyday people in the United States. I mean, there's also a group of people that are, we shouldn't raise taxes on certain things because one day I may be that. If I could be a millionaire one day, I don't want my taxes to be extreme. Okay, well, what about what you are right now? So for Vinny, I mean, if I continue killing it the next couple of years, do I want my max salary to be deflated so that Alex Lang can earn $1 million more? No, I'm going to get a huge contract. I don't want to limit what the earning potential is for the highest people, because that might be me. I might be out there to go and get that could be me one day. If I were to hit the lottery, I don't want to have to give half of it up. No, that could be me. Or, probably not. That's probably not going to happen. Okay, so Vinny, you're probably not going to get a crazy $100 million contract for your bat. So maybe try to get more for what the value would be for you.
But even the difference is you're not taking money away from anyone.
You're adding it.
Right? Like
you might be taking money away from Kyle Tucker because in a capped system, he may get less. The market may drive down his price, but why should Vinny care about Kyle Tucker making $30 million a year instead of $34 million a year when Lucas Erceg could make $5 million over the next 2.5 years instead of $1.7 million over the next 2.5 years for somebody that's turned his life around? That'd be pretty awesome for Erceg to get that, as opposed to Tucker getting $3 million more per year.
But again, I don't think it kills the top market. I don't think it does, because more teams have to hit those numbers.
Yeah.
All it does.
I think you're more likely to be right on that one.
To me, all it does is it would keep Paul Skeens in Pittsburgh. It helps keep Bobby Witt Jr. in Kansas City.
Yeah.
It helps keep these superstars in their town. Jose Ramirez could maybe finally get what his market value would be in Cleveland, because they would have to hit a certain number. I mean, that's what I just don't understand is all these top-end guys, I think you're still going to see your money. You're just not all going to be in New York or L.A. You'll have to be on one of the 30 teams, not just the 3 teams, the Mets, the Yankees, L.A. or San Diego.
Yeah. When I was rooting for the NFL and the Referees Association to have a stalemate where they had to use scab refs, right? They had to bring the refs in from the Fail Mary, and they were going to go to New York and the Eye in the Sky more than they have. And I thought that would be great, because you're not going to put the toothpaste back in the tube once you start using the Eye in the Sky to correct obvious mistakes, right? I wanted that to happen. It didn't come to fruition. If you're a Royals fan, it sounds like it's It sounds extreme when you say it. But the ends justifying the means, there's a part of you that should be rooting for a lockout next year if it means you get a salary cap. Because if you miss 2027 season, but you keep Bobby till 33 or 34, and you can keep Jack throughout his entire prime to 33 and 34, as opposed to, oh, great, we got baseball in 2027, and then Bobby's gone in 2030, and Jack's not signing a big contract extension because he's going to go somewhere and get paid. But, hey, we got baseball through June in 2027, as opposed to a lockout that forced in a salary cap that benefits the Royals and can keep Bobby and Jack and maybe Churio and Shields and whoever else that's coming up behind them in Kansas City.
And now I think the part that gets difficult is how do you figure out the NFL loopholes of signing bonuses?
Oh, yeah.
The Dodgers, will they still do what they do? And Shohei's getting paid $1 million
Deferred money.
And deferred and void years. I mean, there's
Yes.
obviously going to be things you have to figure out. But again, I know it sucks because you play against this team. Detroit would probably keep Tariq Skubal if this was currently in place.
Better for baseball.
Right? I mean, don't you want to see every team have a couple guys?
Better for baseball if you can have all of the teams have an opportunity. Equal results does not indicate, equal starting point does not equal the exact same amount of success that is split between teams. Meaning
Look at the NFL.
Equal starting points in the NFL doesn't mean that you're going to have the same number of different teams that win. Whereas in Major League Baseball, they go, look at all these different teams that have won. Right, but you're not having the same starting point. But all those teams that have won are not small markets. We'll take a timeout. More Zone next. All right, man, if you're out there and you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe younger, and you have some symptoms that could be related to low testosterone, well, Heartland Men's Health is here to help because guys in their early to mid-30s start losing 2 to 3% of their testosterone production every single year. It happens gradually. Before you know it, you don't feel like the same man that you did when you were in your 20s and your 30s. That could be a decrease in libido, putting on weight, less production in the gym, not seeing the gains that maybe you used to, poor sleep, waking up feeling tired, naps in the afternoon, brain fog. All of these things could be related to low testosterone. Heartland Men's Health is here to help you, and you can schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health, and they will do your lab work with you, have your results within 30 minutes, and then you can decide what is best for you. And also, they are helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1, PDA, and more, all designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. A licensed medical provider, you meet with them after you get your results with the consult, and you discuss the options, and the decision is made with the medical team. Cost of the appointment, it's going to be $99, but that gets you the medical consult, testosterone, and that PSA test. And if you sign up for testosterone treatment the day of your appointment, you don't pay a dime. It's free. The visit there, you don't pay the $99. Heartland Men's Health, successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
All right, wrapping things up here in the first. We'll talk with Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. Get his thoughts on this Chiefs team as we are a month out from pitchers and catchers reporting. Rookies and quarterbacks. And then veterans after that for the Chiefs to St. Joe. George Kittle thinks that 90% of players would prefer to play on grass. I know Rashee Rice would. But we'll talk about what he actually meant. And that is what? What did I say? Turf.
That was so good.
Turf, I meant. Turf.
I don't like giving you credit. That was a good one.
Turf. We'll talk about what George Kittle had to say. Jeremy Fowler thinks there were a lot of teams interested in Brendan Sorsby. A competition for the Chiefs at camp. Matt would like to see a player win. All that coming up next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, Friday edition of The Zone, heading up until 2 o'clock. Hanging out with us for the next hour, it is Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. Hello, Matt. How are you, sir?
I am great. How
Good.
are you? I'm in a mood today.
Good. I love moods.
We can do anything you want to do.
Why are you
He didn't
always
say
in a
good
mood?
He just said mood.
I know. I just said I love moods. I didn't say I love good moods. I just said I love
kind
moods.
of mood?
I love
I'm in
moods.
a mood where we can talk about anything you want to. We can talk
Yacht
about
rock.
We can talk about yacht rock. We can talk about the Chiefs. We can talk about how much I think I hate soccer broadcast. We can talk about how much I hate signing mid 30-year-old pitchers to extensions or long-term deals. We can talk about how much I love grass fields.
I think
You love grass.
I think you would be. There are many diehard soccer U.S. men's national team fans that would be in alignment with you on the play-by-play and color commentator for, especially play-by-play.
That was pretty atrocious last
The
night.
main Fox broadcast for the U.S.
You guys are too harsh.
I don't.
Maybe it was the bourbons while I was watching USA, so I didn't notice it. But I didn't notice it.
I don't have now the critiques and criticisms that I was hearing from my buddy who watches all of these games and watches soccer every day of his life for the last 72 years. He's only 40, so whatever. It was he does TV like he's on radio. It's Pulisic to the right side, Pulisic bringing it up, Pulisic across midfield, Pulisic over to Berhalter now. And he's like, we're watching it. We know what is happening. And he was like, every time there's like a run getting close, his voice goes higher and higher to where if anything happens, there's nowhere he can go. Now he's just higher, and all he can do is just hold the same note, as opposed to like maybe understanding when an actual sort of run-up is happening and slowly build. These are just some criticisms. I don't know. I was just watching it and seeing how the U.S. played.
I mean, there was a lot of drama. There was a lot of drama being built into it that wasn't necessarily there either. Because I mean, once again, I didn't need to be reminded 48 times that, hey, Turkey's getting on a plane tomorrow and going home.
Also, how did we know it was tomorrow? What if they were going to stay and hang out? What if they were going to stay?
And it's a corner kick, and it gets lower, and it looks like he's going to have a header, and it's a goal.
What if they?
What was it? I'm trying.
What if they were going to go to the Dodgers game or something? It's in L.A. What if they're going to go to the zoo?
I'm trying to remember who had the shot on goal that ended up going wide, and he's like, the shot. Oh, that's it. Oh no, it's wide. It's like, I saw it was wide. I'm watching on TV on my freaking phone, and
Hey, it's a hard job.
But at one
Do I
point,
come to your place of business?
I actually saw him last night, and he was like, let me tell you about this 41 is the Mike podcast. Let me tell you about this conversation.
Everyone love everyone. It's on the wall.
What I really love, though, my favorite exchange of the entire night, and there were several and everything, but it was when he was talking about how you had the Turkish team, the Turkey team, is getting on the plane tomorrow and going back to home, and to a very unhappy Turkish people. And it made it sound like, they're going to get off the plane and, Ceausescu or something is going to
get trash at
hang them in the square in downtown Istanbul and everything.
It's going to be like that lady at the Knicks parade just dumping trash on them as they walk by with trash cans. And
worse than Eagles fans booing Santa. I mean,
yeah, right.
Well, I mean, in fairness, Santa Price skipped over their houses.
A firing squad at the airport.
Yes. Because the last Santa Claus that came in with a sack, he wasn't giving out presents. He was taking them back. Matt Derrick is with us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No chance you know that reference.
No, it was funny at first talking about Santa's sack. I thought that was a little in June.
It's my Christmas.
I ain't even got a chimney for you to come down, so ain't no reason for you to be coming around. Because the last so-called Santa that came in with a sack, he wasn't handing out presents. He was taking them back.
Can we also, first for a moment,
man, y'all should be mad that I didn't quit because I'm getting too old for this Santa Claus.
Just because I got ADHD this morning and I'm on fire here, can we talk for a moment about how really kind of unimpressive it was that Brandon Ayuk tried to do that thing with the money and was using 50s and not hundreds?
Wait, what are you talking about? I didn't see this. Brandon Ayuk did
what
what
now?
now?
Didn't see this? He goes into his closet and decides to just talk. Apparently illustrate that I guess money means nothing to him, and so he takes all this money out of a bag and starts like just throwing it on the floor and spreading it out and everything. And it was, I mean, I get a lot of money because it's a bunch of 50s. But again, if they were Benjamins, I would have been a lot more impressed.
I also don't understand him.
Oh, no, I mean, Brandon Ayuk
The Commanders
crazy.
and all the tweets and everything, and then you got George Kittle, two Commanders fans, saying, have fun with all of that. Like, that's...
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, seriously, I don't get Ayuk at all because
Yeah.
he talked about how it was dumb for the 49ers to pay him all that money.
Apparently.
But he wants to go and get signed elsewhere, and apparently he set up because he wanted more money.
And
I don't understand his...
And he's trying to burn
not to
down the
understand.
whole thing. Let's go to the Commanders?
Some people just want to see the world burn.
I mean, his quote was, "They're mad because they're they mad because they stupid for paying $50 million in 8 months." That seems like a guy I would love to sign
somebody
on my
should pay
team.
me that amount of money, please. That would be great. You know what? Let's start there with commentary from 49ers. I mentioned that George Kittle said, Commanders fans, if you're excited about getting Ayuk, have fun with all of that. And saying without saying his feelings on Brandon Ayuk as sort of whether it be a teammate or what he brings to the overall team, as opposed to just on the field. Have fun with all of that. He also weighed in. Let's play, this is clip number 5. He weighed in on the NFL Players Association and their continued stance about grass fields as opposed to turf, and the NFL stadiums going out of their way to do what FIFA is demanding in certain standards and levels of expectation of the field and the condition of that field. Here's George Kittle essentially saying the World Cup is showing what the NFL should be calling the standard for the playing surface.
If you can put grass in MetLife and in SoFi, I think you could do that year round if you really gave a shit. I mean, like, that's my opinion. Like, the players, I think if you polled every single player, I would say probably 90% would hit they prefer grass field, and I'd say 10% would say they don't care. But 90% of guys, they prefer to play on grass. And so it's just like, well, you just show that you can do it. So then why don't we do it? Because that's what the players want to do. What I learned as a rookie was like, your body's your business. And the most money you'll make in your entire lifetime, hopefully, is what you make on a football field. And so, like, that's how we have to treat. We have to be, like, safe with our bodies, and we want to take care of our bodies. And we're also the NFL's best investment because when, like you said, when, like, Patrick Mahomes is playing, Josh Allen is playing, Caleb Williams is playing, like, that's great for ratings. That's great for football. And then when they're not playing, it's just kind of like, who's on Thursday Night Football this week? That's what I have to watch on Thursday Night Football. So, like, why not just spend a couple extra $1 million, which we know they all have, to just grass all the fields?
So there's George Kittle making sense on what we have seen NFL stadiums do with FIFA and the World Cup. And even in Kansas City, where they have had a natural grass surface, but FIFA has required them to change the specific type of grass. And of course, you've got
Indica
one of the
or
yes,
sativa?
that's exactly right. Both combination. It's
Which,
created.
I mean,
and you've got one of the best grounds crews in the league that have killed it, and it's been great, and they've had no problem doing that.
Which I don't think the problem with the grass and everything like that, and growing it in June and July in Kansas City is the problem.
Right.
It's growing it in January and December in Kansas City. I think that's the problem.
In New York and
Well, and that's the thing too, is that, I mean, when it comes down to if it just comes down between grass and turf, obviously we know about the problems of trying to still put turf in an indoor building, even in indoor buildings that have grass. It doesn't work completely. I mean, the surface.
Just get a pothead to go in there. They know how to grow grass. You can just literally put some lamps over them things and just keep it going.
I mean, the surface in Arizona is terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys get hurt there, and not just in the Super Bowl when
that's
know,
because
it was
Eddie
moldy
Mangan
and everything.
Eddie Mangan is the reason.
Well,
that
Eddie
Super Bowl-
Mangan messed up that Super Bowl.
Eddie Mangan, you lied.
Remember, Harrison Butker turned his ankle on that, and because that you get the trays.
Well, McDuffie, right? Didn't McDuffie get injured?
McDuffie hurt his hamstring in that one.
I mean,
that was more of running down the field chasing somebody rather than Butker slipping and twisting an ankle.
But when you do that, no matter what, whether they grow them outside and move them in and everything, which is
that's what they try to do there in Arizona.
And what I guess Vegas has a grass field, right? And they have it outside and they move it back in. And I mean, Vegas would be the example. I mean, at least that seems to work.
Well, I think with the new technology and everything, these billion-dollar stadiums that we're seeing, can you find a way to have the natural surface with a roof? And do you need to have a roof that is closed constantly?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, one part of the solution is that you have a roof that doesn't have to be closed constantly, so they'd all have to be open. They would have the windows on them, the roofs, removable roofs. Have a tray system, but the tray systems are not great either. I mean, a lot of stadiums with tray systems have issues with
What's a tray
injuries
system?
too.
Vegas, Arizona.
Okay, the tray system. It's in a tray.
It's in a tray. You move it in.
It's outside that moves back. Yeah.
I was thinking more like a system of threes, like Vegas, a TRE, like a tray system, or TREY, or Mahomes' son, and the bronze tray.
And the reason why Vegas is probably the best is that it's one giant tray that they just slide in and out. Like Arizona, though, it's like segments.
Oh yeah,
so it's like a basketball floor that they just go in and screw down. But that's another part of the problem, too, which is that a lot of these stadiums, I mean, the reason why they have turf in there, for the most part, is sometimes it's because of growing purposes, and, they're in cold climates, and they just like, hey, it's going to be easier. The other part of the problem is that, I mean, they have 10 football games there a year, and they probably have 200 events in that building a year. They've got conventions in there. I mean, it's the Arrowhead has a few concerts.
Yeah, that's
true. But honestly, no matter how hard they try, I mean, those things beat the crap out of the field.
Yeah.
And they do some things in the off season. I mean, like when they've done they had like the monster truck.
Yeah.
I mean, they can do some of those turf where they take out the entire field during the off season.
Yeah.
And then they put in a brand new turf.
God, what if they let the monster trucks just go on the turf? Like, let's have some fun here, man. Let's see what that does to the turf and not just dirt. Let's do it, man.
I mean, there's a lot of practical reasons for it, but I mean, unless everybody, and Vegas would probably be the example. I mean, that would be the way to go.
They've probably been the best so far with the tray system, with everything. It's sure, but they're also the newest, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's one of the newest.
How old is Arizona's stadium? I can look it up.
I think it's a little bit older, but I mean, and I think that was one of the first tray systems. But the other part of it.
Does Jerry World have a tray system as well?
No, because I think Jerry World has turf, right? I could be wrong, but
2003.
But here's the other part of it too, and this is kind of ties in with.
So you're looking at almost 20-year difference in technology with the tray system in 2003 to when Vegas built theirs.
You're correct. Artificial down in Dallas.
And even the drawback, there was an issue. If I remember correctly, I think there was even an issue in Vegas. Because on the opening night for Super Bowl opening night, I believe they were having trouble with getting the field out or getting the field covered because it was pouring rain that day.
I was there, yeah.
And I can't remember what. I think the issue was that they were able to get the turf out, but they had to wait until like the last possible minute because it was raining.
They covered it. It was.
And then they have an issue with covering it when it's outside, mostly because I don't know if they have a cover for it when it goes outside because it never rains, so they don't really plan for these monsoons. But they got like 6 inches of rain that day or something.
I remember that, yeah, because that was, I think it was media night.
Yeah,
I think it was media night.
Monday opening night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know when I was flying in,
I was walking by it, and I remember seeing and they had to bring it out with the turf, and it was very interesting to see what they had to do, because also that's a big-ass tarp.
Yeah.
This isn't a Royals where you cover the infield. This is 100-plus yards.
but also the difference between Allegiant and Phoenix's State Farm, whatever it is, but Phoenix Stadium down there in Glendale, the difference is, so they both have the tray system, and you talked about the pieces, the chunks, but Vegas has also incorporated at a different area that they can roll in the artificial turf for college football games.
There you go.
And concerts and things like that. So their tray system, Arizona doesn't have that. So anything that's played at Arizona is going to be on that main turf that's in the tray system. Vegas said, well, let's have two. One we have specifically for our Raiders games or Super Bowl, and then one for everything else that's just artificial turf. And we don't care about if the college teams want to come play here, they'll play on artificial turf, but our NFL players are going to play on natural grass that's going to be taken care of just specifically for them.
Yeah, smart. By the way, they've come a long way from doing that to playing on a baseball field.
Yes, that's exactly right. But that's smart, though, because you talk about the different things that'll tear up the field. You got concerts and things like that have to be out there. And Allegiant's like, yeah, we got that figured out. We've got a turf field. We'll just roll in and take care of it that way.
And, you know, I mean, I'm sure that, like New York, I'm sure it's probably the same issues. I mean, one, they're probably just concerned about growing grass in the off season. But two, I mean, it's also New York. I mean, I know they're probably not having conventions, but they're probably having enough other shows and events there that it just doesn't make sense for them to put grass in, and unless they put in the tray system, which was built before, you know. And now it's something you'd have to incorporate into future buildings. That'd be really hard to retrofit into buildings. But here's the other thing I'll bring up and talk about, and because it ties into some things that you're talking about in some other sports right now, specifically baseball. Yeah, you know what? Football players, you can get that. You know what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to negotiate it.
I was going to say CBA.
And
if you want it, CBA it.
And I mean, the NFL. I mean, the NFL and the NFLPA or its various representatives over the decades and everything have just been so beaten badly in negotiations that they have too many things on their list to get. They're never going to be able to get them all. I mean, you look at their safety issues, you look at turf issues, you look at money, you look at retirement, you look at medical benefits of retired players.
And
all
last
these
time,
things.
they just wanted weed, basically. That was the last thing they got.
I mean, that was pretty much the only thing they got for current players. I mean, they continue to get some pretty good, you know,
I think they got
retired players. But
yeah, I was going to say, didn't they get the pension? Is like
they got
for any
like
game.
additional pension. I think they got like reduction in number of years of service you have to get to earn it. And
I think there's like even showing up in one game, there's a level of pension that you'll earn for the rest of your life just by being an NFL player in general.
Well, and what used to be
doesn't mean you'll get the full pension, but you get something.
Yeah, and it used to be, I believe, if not mistaken, I think you had to have 4 years of accrued service to qualify for the pension, and now you for 3 years you get qualified. So there's some improvements there. And, of course, it also, backs into baseball in that way, too, which is that, I mean, there are some teams, not every team, but there are some teams that do make decisions on, like, oh, wait, you know what? This guy's close to qualifying for his pension, so we're not going to sign him.
Or does it have to be to one team? Or who pays the pension? Is it the team or is it the league?
It's a collective thing, but some teams just, I mean, nobody's going to say it, but if you look at the way that they go about it, their business and everything, and who they sign and who they don't sign and everything like that. I mean, there are absolutely teams that, and there are players that get so close to their pension and then they just can't find a job.
Or you got the flip side where Jeff King and the Royals, he needed a certain number of games to get to 10 years to get his full pension for the rest of his life. And in the middle of the season, when he got full 10-year accrued, he retired with the Royals. He just in was it July or August of that year that he was like, 10 years exactly? Bye-bye, retired, I'm out.
That's why Satchel Paige came back at 65 to pitch. And
with the accruing of the 3 years, is it by games or is it by
active roster?
Active roster. How does that? I'm sorry, you probably don't know.
No, you have to have 6 to earn an accrued season. You need 6 games on either injured reserve or on the 53-player roster.
Oh, only 6 games. So that's not.
No, it's not terrible. And honestly, I mean, I'll give the Chiefs some credit on this, and especially like last year you look at it, there's going to be some guys who earned some accrued seasons last year or partially accrued seasons last year because they just, brought them up at the end of the year, put some money on IR and signed this guy and everything. I mean, they probably had a few guys that didn't need to go on IR at the end of the year, but they did it. And hey, was it also to get those guys experience? Was there some selfish in it? Sure. But and also if players, in some instances when players get played when they're on a list that doesn't qualify, for instance, like when, if I'm not mistaken, I mean this is what I was told at the time, like when Clyde went on non-football illness list, that you don't earn an accrued season on that, and also but you don't because teams are not obligated to pay you when you're on those lists, when you're on a non-football injury or non-football illness. The Chiefs almost universally pay guys on those lists, or at least partially pay them and everything. So, like I know in Clyde's case, they paid, they went ahead and paid him the full amount. So he earned an accrued season because they went ahead and paid him that. So I give the Chiefs credit. I mean, Brett Veach is generally taking good care of the players and everything like that.
Is that Veach or is that also Hunt?
Probably both. I mean, obviously, I think Clark's got to sign off on it and everything, but it's Veach tries to take care of guys, and the players appreciate that.
It could be Andy Reid, and Andy Reid then to say this is a priority, Clark, that we're going to do this with the players that I coach, and if we want to develop the culture around the Chiefs, this is something we should do just simply for the players that we have on this team. We should take care of them if we want to pretend like we actually care about them. Like, we'll see how much Texas Tech cares about Brendan Sorsby. Is he allowed back to be on scholarship this year and just practice with Texas Tech while preparing for the NFL draft next year? Or it's, Brendan, good luck, getting ready for next April. Well, we'll see. We care about the kid. We love the kid. Well, we'll find out if they actually do. And maybe they do. Maybe he's back there and do that. Who knows? Matt Derrick is with us. Would you expect the Chiefs to carry over? I mean, I know it's a ways away, but would you expect the Chiefs to carry over the natural grass into the new Arrowhead or something along the tray system or hopefully, let's be honest, a rolling roof, which would be preferable so that you can play in the elements if it's a 5-degree day and you got the Dolphins in town and go, you know what, this is why we have the home field advantage. Do you think Clark Hunt will embrace that part of it in this new design?
I mean, I certainly get the sense that at least the way that Clark has spoken and everything like that, I certainly get the sense that the rolling roof is just no. I mean,
that's what I get the sense too.
That they want Arrowhead to be outdoors, and putting on a rolling roof for non-football purposes is not necessarily in his end. Nobody wants to do. I mean, everything. I mean, if the building ends up with a rolling roof, I'll be really surprised. If it does end up with a rolling roof,
do you think it'll be just domed? Or outdoor?
I guess
stadium?
I should say that. I guess. Oh, I think I said that wrong. Yeah, I think that it certainly seems that it's going towards a dome direction.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But then you said he wants Arrowhead to be outside.
Well, I know and that was kind of one of the disputes all along, because Clark was saying he wanted Arrowhead to be outside the entire time, but I think he's been talked into going to the dome.
Mm-hmm.
And
it sounds like there's a nice middle ground there.
But I've only heard words domed. I have not heard rolling roof associated whatsoever. I mean, maybe it will. I mean, dome these days can be a fairly generic term. But I'm still chuckling at some of the ideas, like about how that, you can put one of those inflatable bubbles over, the stadium and everything. We got the dome.
They got a dome.
And I was reminded of this because when we were talking about, the teams coming in and having their tornado warnings during the World Cup every time they arrived, and and I pointed out, hey, statistically, the UK has more tornadoes per landmass than any other country in the world.
How about that?
It's just that almost all their tornadoes are really, really small and don't do any damage. And Europe doesn't get a lot. What do you think is going to happen the first time a tornado comes in and there's a little tiny bubble over Arrowhead with an inflatable?
I think it's going to be close to the Dallas Cowboys practice facility. Something that we saw there when it collapsed, right?
And look what happened in Tampa.
In Tampa, yeah, exactly. But I get it. Like the tornadoes in England and things like that, they're small. This is America. Everything's bigger.
There you go.
We got free refills. We got a medium is like 32 ounces, right? They bring chips and salsa before you even order. Texas Roadhouse, they bring you these rolls that are just amazing, and you haven't even ordered anything. And our tornadoes are massive compared to the small little. This is
it's a small price to tip.
It's not a twister. That's just wind. It's not a twister. That's wind.
USA, baby.
Yeah, everything's bigger here, I guess. I don't know that that's brag-worthy. I'm not sure. But it was a welcome to the United States moment for all of them. We'll see. But the point you made is the most important one, is that if George Kittle and the players find it to be such importance to have this, then you can collectively bargain and make sure that this is part of it. You will have to give something up, but if this is to the point to where you truly feel that the extended playing, because the NFL and Roger Goodell have said there's no evidence that shows there are more injuries on grass or artificial turf. And what the players are saying is this is an accumulation. It's a wearing down quicker when you're playing your games on turf rather than grass. You feel different the day after, and you feel that it's different throughout the season. And the NFL is specifically saying, yes, but here in a vacuum, in these one specific games, the injuries are not any different. The players are arguing it is a slow buildup of that. And if that is that important, then you will need to collectively bargain that. And I, for one, hope they do, because I love the, you see the surfaces that the teams play on. You don't have to worry about the artificial. You don't want anything like Arizona. But again, that's where FIFA has a very specific standard that it has to be met or they won't play. You're not going to head down to a Shaqiri concert and try to play a football game. You're not going to have a preseason game in Canton that the players walk out there and go, there is zero chance we're playing on this field, and they have to cancel that. Like, you're not going to have that. FIFA won't allow the players to get on the pitch if it's not fully signed off on by the officials to see that, okay, this is exactly the standard we're expecting. Now they can go and play on that field.
And we're talking about like a Legion in Vegas being the best at that. You look at even this World Cup, that grass on SoFi last night. Players were slipping all over the place, and that's very similar to the same thing that happened in Arizona.
Some of the players also prefer that, though. They want a faster turf so that they can skip the ball and play quicker. That was one of the complaints in one of the stadiums, was that they wanted to water the field at halftime because the play was going too slow. The ball wasn't slicking and sliding.
Wasn't wet enough.
Wasn't skipping. Like Berhalter's kick last night that he kicked down on the ground and it skipped right off the ground and then almost picked up speed. That's sort of the play that a lot of them expect and want it, because that's more in Europe and Premier League, is that you have those quicker surfaces. Coming over here, it might be slower. So there might be some preference to that. And last night as well, who knows?
Of course, last night it was so wet that Pulisic had an open net and falls down as he's kicking and sails it over the goal.
That is true. Happy medium. Can we get a happy medium where the ball
hard to do indoors? And that's why,
right.
I heard some complaints about the fact that, there's not any World Cup games in Bank of America in Minneapolis because it's a great stadium. Well, they didn't want to put in grass.
Yeah, right. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. I want to get into a conversation with Matt Derrick because he's with us right now. So if we got into a conversation with somebody else, that would be odd and it'd be wasting his time. I want to get into a conversation with Matt Derrick about the topic we brought up yesterday, and that is if there is a competition on the Chiefs, or which competition on the Chiefs would he like to see a certain player win that would be more beneficial for this Chiefs team? Not because of injury, but because that guy just went out and earned it and won the job. We'll talk about that coming up next. Well, we have been having a blast around the world's biggest soccer tournament here in the United States and in Kansas City. The entire tournament, you can trade that on Kalshi. And on Kalshi, you can trade every match from the opening stage all the way to the final. I've talked about throughout my life that I have friends that have investments and they play different markets and they see where certain trends are going in business or other ways to trade in markets, and they can see the highs and the lows. That's not necessarily something that I've ever been able to do, but I can do that with sports. I think I have a pretty good idea as to which way a game is heading. And that's what, to me, separates Kalshi, in that if I can trade a certain market, whether it be a baseball game, basketball, football, or right now this soccer tournament that is taking place, and I can invest a little bit of money and trade on a certain market, if the game is going a certain direction, well, then I can have an idea of, do I want to trade out and take whatever profit I've made, or do I want to stay there or trade out? And if I have to take a small loss because I think I might be on the way of having the wrong read before the game actually started. For instance, right now, Norway and France, 2 o'clock. This is a huge game today. Huge game today. A tie is trading at almost 20%, meaning you're going to win 5 times your money if a tie happens. But if that tie is happening in the first half and that 20% jumps up to 40%, you just doubled your money. So now a $100 investment, you can trade out of that position, you get $200 back. And you don't have to worry about it being a tie much longer. One team's about to score, but you know what? This I better get out of this right now because there's going to be a goal put on the board, and that percentage is going to drop, and now I might lose some money. Or early on, you know what, I'm playing a tie at 20%, and there's like 3 goals. Like, oh, let me get out. It's not going to be a tie. I don't even care if it's 10% and I only have to take half my money. Let me get out. You do that and see that in other markets and other areas in investment, and you can do that in sports. That's what Kalshi offers. You are trading against peers in a live market. There's no house, and as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code JASON810. It's JASON810 to get $10 when you trade 10 on Kalshi. Kalshi. It's Kalshi. JASON810 is the code. Kalshi. Trade the beautiful game.
18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Matt Derrick hanging out with us, Chiefs Digest. 41 is the Mike podcast. All right, so, Matt, we asked this question yesterday, and the three of us weighed in on it. And the question was a competition at training camp, a true competition. Not what Sterling said was the player he'd like to see win the job is Nussmeier, because then it would show how amazing of a quarterback he is. And then you got a quarterback on a rookie deal that's better than Patrick Mahomes. That's absurd. But an actual competition at a particular
Am I
position.
wrong, though? That's not wrong. I mean, I think that is best case scenario.
You have two quarterbacks, you don't have one. That's what they always say.
I was going to say, I think that's the fear, is that if Nussmeier wins the job, it's going to be less about Nussmeier and more about Justin Fields.
Oh, no, he's talking about winning
Patrick
the number
Mahomes.
one job.
Number one job.
Beating out Patrick Mahomes.
It's a joke, obviously, but it's like hypothetically,
I
what's
wasn't even
best case
thinking
scenario?
about that.
Well, best case scenario.
Beating out Patrick Mahomes, therefore you've got Nussmeier that's better than Mahomes on a rookie contract.
That means he's the greatest quarterback who's ever lived.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be best case scenario. But we're living in a land of hypotheticals. I said if our Mason Thomas were to be a starter, that means he's a three-down guy and not just a specialist pass rusher.
See, mine was, well, I'll just ask you, and then I'll let you know what my number one was. So a competition that is an actual competition there that a player may start that you would see as to, you know what, that shows a lot about that player. The Chiefs are in a better spot, and this is good for them that player earned it, not by default of injury or anything.
Yeah, that would be my concern with a couple of them, is that if player B wins the job, that it's maybe not because player B is awesome, but that player A just let you down. And so that would be the issue. The one I go to immediately is right tackle.
That was my number one.
I mean, and obviously you got a lot of candidates, but it doesn't matter who. I mean, and there's a little bit of a risk there where you could be saying at the end of training camp, well, okay, Esa Pele or Khalil Benson, Ethan Driscoll, somebody won this job.
Yeah.
But it's really more because Jalen Moore disappointed you. I mean, if it's the other way around, if it's that somebody goes out and just legitimately outperforms Jalen Moore, then I mean, I think that's great, because if you're saying you found somebody who's better than Jalen Moore was good last year. So if you found somebody better, that's great. But then it also gives you a really experienced guy who can play both sides of the line as your swing tackle. And I think, hey, all those guys I think would be better at right tackle than left tackle. So if the reverse is true, Jalen Moore wins that job. Now all these guys are your swing tackle, or one of them is your swing tackle. Let's say it's Pele. We saw Pele at left tackle last year. He was okay.
He was all right. Yeah.
I mean, I still think he'd be better at right tackle. You know what? There's going to be some people in the NFL who think he's better guard than a tackle, and maybe that's where he should be, headed to next. I mean, if that's the case, then if that's what happens and Jalen Moore is your swing tackle, I think you're much more equipped to be able to handle an injury with Josh Simmons or an absence of Josh Simmons. Now you got somebody experienced to step in, and you're not having to rework your entire line, and you're not getting to a spot where maybe you got somebody that isn't as experienced at left tackle, and now with Mahomes coming back from the injury, now he's got blind side problems. I think you'd be more comfortable with Jalen Moore on the left side, if he was just able to come in and because obviously, I mean, if Jalen Moore starts, you're not. It's very, very anti Andy Reid and Andy Heck to just say, okay, we're going to move our right tackle to left tackle and put this new guy in, and now you got two positions that you've disrupted. They don't like to do that. So I think that's the one you'd be hoping for.
Yeah, I think all of those things are true. Like, you create that swing tackle with Jalen Moore. What it also does is, let's say they go through this season with Jalen Moore playing right tackle. You go to the offseason, and Jalen Moore's a free agent, and what do you have in Esapole or Benson? Do you know what your right tackle is? Are you then in the market in the first or second round to go and draft a right tackle to say, all right, now we feel good about our offensive line? If, for instance, Esapole, not by default, but goes, and just as an example, Benson too, but let's use Esapole just as a placeholder. Let's say Esapole goes out there and wins the job, not by default, but it's like, yeah, this guy really took a step forward from last year, undrafted, to the offseason. He got experience last year during the season, figures out what he needs to work on, killed it, showed up to camp, and this guy won the job at right tackle, and then he plays a representative, serviceable right tackle, even if it's just average right tackle play all year. you go into next year saying, boy, that offensive line is going to be together for the next 3 years, you would hope, or more, with the 3 interior players and then Simmons at left tackle and Esapole as the placeholder name at right tackle, where 3 of those are on rookie contracts with Pole, Simmons, and Kingsley Suamataia on rookie deals, while you're paying a lot for Creed and Trey Smith. That would be a big development for the Chiefs in the salary cap and how to allocate money if you're not then going out and first-round draft pick for right tackle, or let's go get the best right tackle on the market, so we're always putting the best guys out there in front of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, I think the Chiefs, I'm trying to remember if they're 3rd or 4th in offensive line spending. I mean, they're still up there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're pretty close to number 2.
Part of that is Jalen Moore, though, right? I mean...
Yeah, they're still a part of that. And that's part of him. Part. They're still part of... I mean, obviously, they're still part of Juwan Taylor that's in there,
that's
too.
True.
So,
$7 million of that.
Not a ton, but yeah, a little bit of that. But, hey, if Jalen Moore is your backup, then yes, you have solved, in theory, your right tackle position for a couple of years going forward, because you've got a young, cost-controlled guy in that place. And if that means that, like a Khalil Benson, gets a year to season and everything, so now you've got that, you could end up in a situation, where, for 2-3 years, you've got cost-controlled positions across the line, except like really 4 of your top 6 positions.
Yeah,
could be on still rookie deals, or I mean, even the 5th-year option for Simmons, you could be in there for 3 years. So I mean, as your two guys in the middle get more expensive, and then and I've had it suggested that, hey, I mean, the Chiefs are at some point probably going to have to consider maybe trading like a Trey Smith just to get out of the contract, and maybe that's a way to solve that problem, or just maybe he's a guy that you don't sign to an extension. I mean, well, you know what? Maybe you can still keep Creed and Trey. But to do that, you're going to have your other guys all be cheap. And if you want to be able to sign a Josh Simmons, I mean, you got to save some money somewhere along the line.
Yeah, the Chiefs had a undrafted free agent right tackle when they won the Super Bowl against the Eagles and Andrew Wiley.
Yep.
Now, he had been in the league for like 4 years at that point. But still, it was a guy that was undrafted. And then he went and got a nice contract, which, good for him that he got that contract. But they've had experience of a guy that did not have the draft pedigree and came in, developed, and then became your starting right tackle for a year and a half. For 2021, he was a starting right tackle for a decent portion. And then 2022, he was the starting right tackle until he got paid. So they found that guy. And so they do have some experience of finding some players that have been undrafted and fitting them in at a spot at right tackle and going in and playing at a decent level. And so if Esapole wins the job, that would be huge for this Chiefs team. Not that it's by default, but you've got a real solid front 5 in front of Patrick Mahomes that can gel, because oftentimes we hear offensive linemen talk about it's really the 5 guys playing together rather than just really talented offensive linemen. You can have individual offensive linemen that are talented.
Got to get those 5 fingers in a fist.
But if they don't create that fist, then there's a lot of water and sand that can seep through the fingers. But you put the sand in a fist, it'll stay in there. That's the thing. And so you got to do that. It would be beneficial if they were able to do some of those things and have a running back that doesn't run into the back of those offensive linemen.
That's also helpful.
To leave the Wile E. Coyote outline on Trey Smith's back. Wile E. Pacheco outline on Trey Smith's back, just going through them. I actually want somebody to put that picture out there with Trey Smith blocking and the Wile E. Coyote outline between him and Pacheco 2 yards down the field. Only he wouldn't have been able to actually create that.
2 yards seems pretty far.
I know.
That's pretty far. Yeah. That's
my bad.
A lot of yards after contact.
Yeah, just falling down. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling more zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, this Friday edition of the show. Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast, hanging out with us. So we talked about Esapole before we take a break for this hour. Any other ones come to mind? I'll tell you what Michael and Sterling mentioned R. Mason Thomas and Ashton Gelati.
That's a good one.
That he said if R. Mason Thomas were to win the defensive end job, that he's just a 3-down defensive end. That would be great. Michael had an interesting one, and he said Jadon Kennedy winning the slot cornerback spot over Kader Kohu and maybe even Christian Roland Wallace. And at that point, you could have Mansour Delane, Noel Williams, and Jadon Kennedy as your 3 cornerbacks for the next 3 years, since Noel Williams is a second-year player, so next 3 years minimum. So that was one that was brought up as well. Any others that may pop into mind after the obvious one that we all sort of agreed on was Esapole and Jalen Moore, but a couple of others we threw out there are Mason Thomas and Jadon Kennedy.
Yeah, I mean, like a pie-in-the-sky one that I don't think would necessarily be one that Chiefs fans want. But, you know, if you're just talking about guys, hey, going out and having great camps and proving themselves and getting their opportunity, I mean, if you in training camp and you're saying to yourself, hey, Christian Fulton and Noel Williams are playing better than Mansour Delane right now, then
That's interesting.
You're going to have a pretty good secondary. You're not going to have any problems if that's what happens. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to happen because, like, Delane disappoints you. But, hey, if those 2 guys went out and just balled out, I think you'd feel pretty good. Like I said, that's a little probably pie in the sky to even expect that. I think the underrated one would be, you know, Cyrus Allen maybe passing Tyquan Thornton. I don't think he's going to pass Rashee Rice or Xavier Worthy. But if...
Well, nobody's passing Rashee Rice the way as fast as he goes.
Oh, that's true.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Not unless I can get my hands on a Maserati.
Yeah, go for Matt.
That's one I think is plausible. So...
I'll throw one more out there that I think Michael or Sterling brought up. As I say the name, I'll let him take credit for whoever it was. Said
if it's smart as me.
Bassa beating out Tranquil.
Yeah, I thought
that was Michael.
I thought about that one as well.
That was Michael.
So
maybe not really all that realistic. But if Bassa just went out there and was like, oh, my God, this guy is unbelievable, maybe Drew Tranquil becomes a depth piece now. That was one that Michael brought up. That would be
that would probably be next on my list. I mean, there's...
Okay, he brought it up, but I brought up what if Drew moves to Cooper's spot, Leo's old spot, and then Bassa. See, there's where the combo came in.
I mean,
am I wrong, Darcy?
Matt, I think we kind of tag team that one.
Matt, we couldn't just say Michael brought up Jeffrey Bassa.
Let Michael have a moment
without
of glory.
Sterling going, yeah, but I actually dunked on him.
It was the law.
I took his seed of an idea.
Yeah, I took his incredibly generic take,
dude. It was Dwayne Wade and Shaq. It was Dwayne Wade and LeBron. Learn ball.
I took his 100 level course idea and made it a 300 level course entire theory.
Which one of you is Dwayne Wade and which one's LeBron?
That's what I was gonna ask.
I'll be Dwayne. I don't care.
And does that make Jason Chris Bosh?
Hell yeah.
No, that makes him Jason Williams.
Damn it.
He'll be White Chocolate.
Which Jason Williams?
You're Jason.
I know, but which Jason Williams?
White Chocolate.
I'll take that one. Yeah.
Not a
I'll
bad
take
one.
that one.
Okay.
That means my daughter is a badass softball player. Hell yeah. I'll take that.
And you're Gary Payton.
The glove.
It's an odd one, but I'll take that.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
Is anybody Karl Malone? Let's take a break. We'll come back and thank God. We'll take a break. We'll come back and we will talk with Matt Derrick about Brendan Sorsby. Jeremy Fowler says that there were a lot of teams interested in Brendan Sorsby. The NFL was not interested in teams that were interested in Brendan Sorsby. And we never asked Matt last week his do-over sporting event, if he could do it again, that I talked about with missing out on Messi's hat trick, that you had the opportunity to go, and I just chose not to because of money, circumstance, whatever. Our number one was that wild card game in 2014 for the Royals. We'll see what Matt Derrick says coming up next. We continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest. 41 is the Mike podcast, hanging out with us here. We will talk with Alexis Guerreros from the Cooligans podcast. That they were just doing a live podcast with, God, what was their guest was called? I'm trying to think of how to pronounce this name. It's Nate Bukati. Not Nate Bukati? Something like that was one of the guests they had on their podcast a little bit ago. So I'll get it figured out. I'll figure it out.
Reminding me of Nick Jacobs on our podcast trying to pronounce Curacao. So.
What did he say? Caraco? Did he say? He said Caraco, right, or something like that?
Caraco at one point. Curacao.
Yeah.
Who was he? Wayne Gretzky?
God, that's a good pull. Nice job.
Thank you.
Very good.
That's a good one, Sterling.
Thank you.
I would not have gone to that.
All I know is that Curacao makes great margaritas.
Do they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, with Curacao.
Sterling calls those margs because he's so cool these days.
I like getting margs made in my mouth. Yeah.
See,
there you go.
Stupid.
Or the Iron Man shot.
Oh God, what is it?
It's when you snort the salt.
Yep.
Take the shot and then squeeze the lime in your eye.
Why would you do that?
That sounds stupid.
Because it's.
I mean, that sounds
funny.
like one step away from drinking a Tide Pod.
It's kind of funny.
Is it though?
I think it's kind of funny.
You can put your eye out.
You're not gonna it's just a lime. It does sting for a little bit. It's not pleasant. It's the salt that gets you.
You've actually done it before?
Yeah, last time I did it was in Nebraska.
It's the salt that doesn't. So the salt is in you snorting the salt.
Yeah, that's what
it's not
gets
the
you.
lime in the eye.
It's not a good example to set for the kids.
I'm not. What did Charles Barkley said? Nobody said I'm a role model.
I am not a role model.
I am not a role model.
No, you are not. I mean, now that over the park police are going to have to send out a bulletin to remind people not to do this.
When you see this mustachioed man in a Jeep, stay away. That is not candy he's offering you. It's snorting salt, and he's going to squeeze a lime in your eye.
There are way worse things that I could do. That is just you. Sometimes you want to feel something. Sometimes you just want to be. Adventurous.
I mean, if you ever need a hug, Sterling, I'm here for you. Just
big hugger.
Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers go.
That's something just kind of fun.
All right,
to
Matt.
Be a dumbass. I could be on Jackass.
No one's arguing. No one's arguing.
We're all in agreement there. We're all just agreeing with that. Matt Derrick is with us. We'll see if we agree with Matt Derrick on this. Who knows? It's his own opinion, so we can't really disagree with it. Although, if your opinion is Mahomes sucks, then that's not an opinion. That's just wrong.
Right.
Opinions can't be wrong. Yes, they can. So, Matt, we asked last week, except for you for some reason, and I apologize. I did not get to it with you. But last Tuesday, well, a week from this past Tuesday, Messi had the hat trick at Arrowhead Stadium. And I had mentioned that I didn't think a soccer match would ever give me FOMO and I wish I could go back and do it over again, pay the whatever it was. I think get-in price at that time that day was like $800. If I knew that I was going to witness Messi have a hat trick at Arrowhead in the first World Cup game ever played here in Kansas City, it would have been worth the money, because 20 years from now, I don't know what I would have spent that $800 on or what I will spend it on, where 20 years from now, I would have known exactly where that went, and that's an experience and would have been worth it. And so we talked about the top or the things that you would look back on and say, if I had a do-over. Now, it has to be something that you reasonably could have gone to. Okay? You can't say, 1920 Olympics. I would have, no. So mine was, I could have driven here to go to the wild card game in 2014. I chose not to. I wish I could go back and have a do-over, because I would pay whatever it takes and whatever circumstance or convenience or money, whatever it was, to be there at that game. That's certainly one of them. We came up with like 5 or 6 different ones. Is there one in your mind, Matt, that you look back in your time as a sports fan that you go, I had a chance to do this, and convenience, money, timing, just decided not to, and if I had a do-over, I would definitely go?
I mean, the first two that popped in my head were things that I would say really, I mean, I can't really count them. I mean, because I was 8 years old. I didn't really have the option of going to the 1980 Olympics. and everything. But that would have been, like cool and everything like that.
It's not like you were offered
USA, Russia.
You weren't offered a ticket and was like, well,
no.
actually, I've got a basketball game tonight.
And I didn't really have an option living in Springfield. Nobody offered me the opportunity to go to 1985 World Series, so didn't have that. The one for me, the pledge that I made was that I wanted to go to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Never been there, still haven't been there before. I wanted to go the year that George Brett got inducted.
The George Brett, Nolan Ryan, Robin Yount, 1999.
That wasn't even like the connection. I had just always decided, back when I was a kid, it was like, okay, you know what? No matter where I am, what I'm doing, everything like this, I want to go to that.
So you lied to yourself.
I did, and when Brett retired, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll road trip it. I'll do whatever and everything like that. And as it turned out, I mean, that summer, because that was summer of '99, I believe.
That was a second song that he made that wasn't as good as
Summer of '99.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my job was very much in the air, and I ended up getting laid off in October because the newspaper was not doing well, or it got sold and everything, and so we all knew the writing was on the wall. We all knew the writing was on the wall.
We had time off.
I was going to say it really rebounded though.
I mean, yeah, I probably should have taken the time and everything like that, but I was also making, not very much money, and I didn't have a lot in savings, and so I'm just like, even though how badly I want to go and everything, I'm just like...
Sounds like excuses.
There were a lot of excuses.
But there are excuses at the time, and you look back and go, well, those excuses weren't worth me missing out on that experience.
If I just maxed out the credit cards and done it and everything, I mean, I wouldn't have minded, making the drive. I could have driven to New York and everything. It wouldn't have been a problem, and then, And
who knows, in 20 years, I may look back and go, look, I would have seen the Messi hat trick. Now, it would have been a messy divorce after spending that money to go to a soccer match, but would it have been worth it? I don't know.
Hey, if she don't let you go to that, she ain't the one.
No, I don't think she's going to say spend whatever it takes to go to a soccer match.
You're fine.
No, she's the one, because the story that I've told is I didn't go to the wild card game, but game 2 of the World Series that year, my brother called day before and was like, hey, me and Zach are heading to game 2. Any chance you can drive in and we'll get tickets and go to game 2? I called my wife, started explaining, like, well, we can do this. She was like, go. And I'm like, well, it was like Tommy Boy. It's like, well, we can do, what's that? I'll buy, sold. She's like, go. No, I know what this means. Go. I'm like, oh, okay. See, Sterling, that's where you know that. But for $800 when you got 2 kids and I don't really go to soccer matches or talk much about it and didn't know he was going to have a hat trick, that'd have been tough to explain.
Well, if I had made that trip to the Baseball Hall of Fame, I could have redeemed myself, because if I had ended up with a baseball that's autographed by George Brett and Robin Yount and Nolan Ryan was like my second favorite player growing up too, so that would have been Orlando Cepeda was in that class as well. I mean, so if I'd ended up with a ball, with all those guys autographed, it could have made up for my greatest regret and shame.
Yeah,
which is that I got a baseball. And I got an autograph on it, and then I decided that, hey, you know what? This is going to be my baseball for autographs.
Yeah.
Anybody that, did I get an autograph? I'm going to be on this baseball. The second person, I believe, whose autograph I got on that baseball, I believe, was Kurt Stillwell.
I got a good one for you.
Shortstop at the Kansas City Royals.
I got a good one for you.
He was the second autograph. The first autograph on that baseball, on the heart of the baseball, just the dead center, like you would have if it's just a baseball that you're one autograph and you're putting on display and everything.
George Brett, HOF, 1999.
No.
Oh.
Stan Musial.
Oh, my God.
And to his credit, I hand the baseball to Kurt Stillwell. And Kurt Stillwell looks at it and he's like, are you sure you want me to sign this?
And you're like, yes, Mr. Stillwell. I'm such a big fan.
I want all the baseball players I get autographs.
I'm your biggest fan.
And see, this was still when I was living in
Springfield. I want to name my son Kurt.
I didn't grow up in Kansas City. I grew up in Springfield. So Kurt Stillwell was like the third, he was the third Major League Baseball player I'd ever met. Because fourth.
Well, Stan Musial.
Fifth, maybe the fourth or fifth.
Babe.
Stan Musial. Babe Ruth? No. It'd be Stan Musial, Frank White, because I met him at Battlefield Mall when he and Hal McRae came down for a Royals Caravan one year. The Kurt Stillwell was there on the Caravan, and I'm trying to remember there was somebody else whose autograph was on that baseball too that was there with Kurt Stillwell.
God, I hope it's the most random person ever.
So I'd have to go back and look.
It's actually
and see
the ball
who
boy that you thought was a member of the team. Like, are you sure you want me to? Yes,
sure
you're my favorite player.
And then I also met because they were coaching at a Mickey Owen baseball camp. So, oh gosh, I can't remember who that was. Well, I've met Mickey Owen. So he was a Major League Baseball player. We'll count that. And but Jim Lefevre, Ryan Lefevre's dad. Was
is he on a baseball?
Not on the baseball, though.
You could be the only one with a Jim Lefevre and Ryan Lefevre signed baseball.
I could. I mean, and
that would be amazing.
He is the one, however, that during running drills at the baseball camp. Watched us, and because we were supposed to be running in slow motion to demonstrate good form and everything.
Yeah,
and yes, Lefevre looks at us and says, "Well," looks at me and he says, "Look, looks like we got 9 runners and 1 drum major."
Have you told Ryan this story?
I have not. I've never had a chance to meet Ryan.
Oh my gosh!
So I do have a Nolan Ryan signed ball.
Ooh.
I do have a George Brett signed ball.
Are they different or the same?
Those are different. But on the George Brett signed ball, I thought the same as you. You know what would be fun? This will be a ball I get a lot of signatures on. Let's do it. George Brett, Tony Pena Jr.
Ooh.
That is the worst combination.
That's bad.
Of players that you could have.
George Brett.
I think that might be the widest gap. Players you can have. That's the only 2 on that ball?
Well, I believe it's the only 2 on the ball because I think Aaron Crow is on a jersey. It's also signed by George Brett.
I think I
have ruined many George Brett signatures.
I know that I have a true one-of-a-kind baseball besides your one-of-a-kind
baseball. No one
has
that. I can guarantee no one else has a George Brett, Tony Pena Jr. signed ball.
Mine is better, not worse. That's bad. So mine is not better as in worse than that. It's a better baseball. I've got a baseball with 3 autographs on it. It's George Brett, Joe Carter, and Buck O'Neil.
Wow.
Are the 3 autographs on this baseball. Now, it'd be cool if I had 3 different baseballs on it, but you know what? It's not for other people. It's my baseball. Have you seen my baseball? It's my baseball with George, Buck, and Joe as the 3 autographs on that particular baseball. So that's
pretty cool.
And the only one I actually remember, I don't remember when George signed it and what I was doing. I don't remember when Joe signed it, what I was doing. I remember exactly where I was when Buck O'Neil signed it because that was just to be in his presence.
Yeah.
That was one of the coolest moments as an intern is to go out to Kaufman before the game and covering the Royals. We had the Royals at that time when I was interning. And so to be out there before the game, watching the players just taking batting practice, and that's when Buck would show up at all the games and just hold court before the games. And you're just standing there on the other side of the railing on the field from the dugout and just sitting there, and there's like 5 or 6 people around, and it's just Buck O'Neil telling stories. Is one of the coolest experiences of my life. And I didn't care what the rules were. I went and grabbed the baseball and had him sign that. It was no regrets for that one. It's one of the coolest experiences of my life.
Exactly where I was when Tony Pena Jr. signed that ball. And I hate it because I was pretty young, and I remember exactly where I was.
My nephew has a Dante Hall jersey signed by Eddie Kinnison. So that's a one-of-a-kind.
Okay, I have a Dante Hall signed baseball.
Okay. Odd.
My mom
would have been a hell of a base stealer. Nobody could have tagged him.
Was doing something and saw Dante Hall, and at the time I was young. I loved Dante Hall, obviously. She goes, well, all I had in my purse was a baseball. I had so many questions. I go, Mom, why did you have a baseball in your purse?
Why didn't you give him the samurai sword to sign?
But so I have a Dante Hall signed baseball. I have an Eminem shirt signed by Kid Cudi.
You were just in the pursuit of happiness, and you found it in Kid Cudi's Eminem shirt.
It was at Can Roxas. Kid Cudi goes, I have a shoe that's signed by musicians. It's kind of fun. It's a Converse. It's cool. And I give him my shoe. Kid Cudi goes, I only signed Jordans. And I go,
was he serious?
He was serious.
Oh my God, I thought it was.
And so I go, all right, well, I'm wearing this Eminem shirt because Eminem's about to come on. It's an old, the Eminem show shirt. I just take my shirt off and go, well, will you sign my Eminem shirt? He goes, Hell yeah.
I only sign Nike M&M shirts.
And so he signed my M&M shirt. He wouldn't sign a Converse shoe because it's not a Jordan, but he would sign an M&M shirt. So that's another. I love having the most random things.
Did Kid Cudi have a shoe deal?
He must have had a shoe deal. And also, like, who's going to see? Who's going to know?
But who's also going to ask him to sign a shoe?
That's also.
He's not a basketball player.
All good questions.
I had so many questions, but so that's how I ended up with the Kid Cudi signed M&M shirt.
I can share one more, and this also goes back to a Sun newspaper story. That's where I worked when in the summer of '99 when I was worried about my job and being laid off and everything. And it was, but it was after the Rose family sold a newspaper, and the evil people from Minnesota were running it. But so Willie Wilson, I guess, had some financial problems at one point there in a while, and so he was like selling everything in his house, and there was it was basically like a giant garage sale in the house.
It's like an estate sale just for anything.
Exactly. And Willie was there signing things. And so my coworker Shane, I hope Shane is listening to this, or somebody else who worked at Sun newspapers back in the day.
Hi, Shane.
Shane's great character, hilarious. I mean, I could tell Shane stories all day long. But we go over, to check it out at lunchtime and everything. And I mean, it was a lot of, household items and just general things and everything.
You got a Willie Wilson signed blender?
I, for some reason, bought you could have.
Yeah.
I mean, I, for some reason, bought Willie Wilson's, and it was probably belonged to his kids, but it was a Simpsons game. Video,
from the Sega?
PC game. It was for the
PC game.
Yeah.
I was like, Sega,
I don't know why.
Super
Did he sign it?
I think I was too nervous to sign it. But here's why I was too nervous to ask him to sign it. Because Shane goes, and everything in the house was everything must go kind of a thing. So Shane goes up and goes into the closet, and there was some sports gear at the bottom of the closet, and there wasn't any Royals gear or anything like that. But Shane does come across an athletic cup.
Oh, dude.
And he's like, I'm getting this. I mean, it was like, I don't know, like tagged like $5 or something like this. So
they were selling it for like, it was tagged?
It was tagged.
Like, so everything had a price tag on it.
Everything must go. Yes. And so Shane bought it, and naturally, hey, Mr. Wilson, can you sign this for me? And
did he do it?
Willie signed it. Willie Wilson, number 6, and
that's a one of a kind item.
Yeah.
That's strong.
How many people have a signed cup by the person that wore said cup?
Well, we're assuming that he wore said cup. I mean,
you better hope he wore it, not someone else in the.
I mean, I don't care if it's Willie Wilson, George Brett, Nolan Ryan. I don't care who it is, Patrick Mahomes. I'm not picking up somebody else's cup.
No, I'm with you. I'm not, but it's funny. I'm getting at least a napkin in between.
Is this the situation where the cup you know is better than the cup you don't know?
Probably.
Okay, but
if
I
you
also
knew it was Patrick Mahomes' cup, it'd be better than just like a cup, sitting around somewhere and like, I think that's Patrick's.
I mean, if it was Tony Payne Jr.'s cup, he probably wouldn't have picked it up. So.
That was one of the.
It was actually Tony Payne Jr.'s cup that he borrowed from George Brett.
In fairness, he had just had 4 triples in 3 games. I thought Tony Payne Jr. was the future. We were down there pregame, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be the next Bobby Witt Jr. before Bobby Witt Jr. existed.
Well, Bobby Witt existed. He just didn't exist in your mind.
He would have been very young,
but he existed.
Yeah, he would have existed probably. Yeah, he'd been like
25 years old.
Probably been 6 to 8 years old. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
absolutely. Would have existed.
But that Tony Pena start to the season brought about one of the greatest lines from Danny Clinkscale when Tony Pena was batting like .325 and leading the league in triples through the first 10 games of the season, and Danny said, "If Tony Pena Jr. hits 300 this year, I'll swim to the Dominican." He was safe, though, because Tony Pena Jr. had no chance of hitting 300 in baseball ever.
I created my own Danny Clinkscale line in my head, combining a couple of Danny quotes there. So
right, okay.
Yeah. We'll share those out off air.
Yeah, that's fine. You can share those off air. Any actual sporting event, though, that you go back? Because that's a cool event. I hadn't thought about an event like that as a Hall of Fame, because I had discussed or at least talked with friends like, hey, let's go. Because I was 19 at the time. I could have made the trip to go to Cooperstown. I mean, who wouldn't want to go see, Smokey Joe Williams, and Orlando Cepeda. Well, Brett was there too, but whatever.
I did hit
Deebs actually skipped it as well. That was the odd part. But anyway, go ahead.
I did hit a point where actually I did go to all the things that I wanted to go to. So, You know, I mean, I did.
Did you go to Armageddon?
I was at Armageddon.
Okay, that was one we brought up.
And that was, I mean, that's my buddy Steven. Now, he's the one that's got the regret there because
He turned down tickets?
He had tickets, he had season tickets, and so he bought tickets for Armageddon. And then, like, he and his wife, a couple of their best friends, were getting married that weekend. And so they had to go out of town for the wedding.
Fall weddings.
He sold
Don't do it.
me the tickets.
Don't do it, Sterling. Fall weddings.
Yeah.
And then I was there. I went to the Cotton Bowl and that year. So that was a great game, too. Great experience. I unfortunately went to the Big 12 championship game at Arrowhead against Oklahoma. That belongs in a special place. I was at one point screaming because once again, I mean, the Sooner Schooner broke down on the field, and I'm up here screaming.
It breaks down thrice
I
a
was
season.
Screaming for delay a game penalty at the very least, and the officials showed that they were in on the fix, so they didn't throw anything.
Which one was that? Was that the Jeremy Maclin fumble on the reverse, or was that the one down in Dallas of the Mizzou Oklahoma
I think it may have been
Big 12 championship? I can't remember which one that was. You know what? I think that was the one where they beat Oklahoma. They played for the national title. And in the second half, they had that reverse on their own 5-yard line.
Yeah, that was the one.
And it was the missed
Yeah, that was the one.
The point I make is
one up here was like 60-22 Oklahoma.
Yeah,
so.
there was no fumble that would have made a difference.
The point I always make is just do it. Just go ahead and do it because you'll spend money on way dumber things.
Well, that's what Kid Cudi said. That's all he's signing.
I've spent money on so many dumb things.
Yeah.
I was driving back to Columbia on a Saturday morning. I don't remember why. I guess some of my friends, I must have gone to do something in Kansas City Friday night. I just remember it was a Saturday morning, although you could fact check me and see if this is actually what happened.
I'm going to.
Because I believe it was on the Saturday before the final weekend of the season that Brett announced he was going to retire. And so I think it was like at a press conference at the stadium on a Saturday. He was like, yep, decided this is going to be it. So, this will be like my last week. And we just raced back to Columbia, got back to my dorm room and everything, jumped on the phone and ordered tickets because had to be there for Georgia's last game.
That's awesome. So that's pretty cool.
No, you didn't go online. You didn't go to Tickets for Less.
We didn't even. I mean, at that point, we didn't.
By the way, that's dating right there because I jumped on the phone to order tickets. It's a busy signal. Call again. Redial.
Flippin' old I am.
You had a rotary phone.
This was the year before we were even given email addresses at the University of Missouri and didn't even have a computer lab with internet access.
So you couldn't sign up for the Facebook.
Oh,
just joking.
We didn't even have the Facebook. We didn't even have.
You didn't have one of them internets.
We had Prodigy because we at least had Prodigy at home and everything. Gosh, I'm trying to remember what else.
How did the dinosaurs go extinct? You saw it firsthand.
I mean, it was. It took a while. But it was pretty hot there for a while. They got really cold.
Yeah. Yep. It switched pretty quickly.
Lack of food. It was a lot of problems.
Yeah. But luckily, most of the dinosaurs that were near the impact evaporated quickly. Good. So it was not a slow instead. Those that were away from it, that then with the heat went to cold and all of the vegetation. That was rough for them. Anyway, go ahead.
I can share with you just what was the early internet like.
Mm-hmm.
So if you went into the computer lab at Wolpers Hall on a Friday or Saturday night in 1994, I can tell you exactly what was happening. You had 12 guys with no lives whatsoever.
This sounds like
they were playing a computer game.
Downloading like 50K JPEGs of Terry Hatcher. And it would take you like all night to do that. And these were like 72 DPI, 2x3 images. The lowest resolution possible. Well, no, at least now you're doing it on you got fiber and everything.
Terry Hatcher was the choice.
Terry Hatcher was the woman of the internet in like 1994.
Yes. Let me see.
Stop.
Whoa.
Oh, I would not have gone with. I would not have guessed the Terry Hatcher would have been the choice at that time.
Okay. Learn something new.
There you go. If you could go back in time, that would what you'd see. That's not where I would go back in time if I had the opportunity. So
no, I don't think so.
Gosh, is there anything else that I feel like?
No, I think you've covered it all.
What I mean,
everything from George Brett to Terry Hatcher to athletic supporters worn by Willie Wilson.
I saw all the great moments in Mizzou history that I could.
From what I've taken,
been like two of them.
From what I've taken from this, you had friends downloading a picture of Terry Hatcher wearing a Willie Wilson cup signed by Tony Pena Jr.
You know, it could. I mean, all those things happened in the same decade. So
we need to get a picture of Tony Hatcher just to put up here for every single. Tony Hatcher, Terry Hatcher, for every single.
You're gonna end up with one of Mickey Hatcher, and it's gonna be a real problem.
Mickey Rourke. We'll get one of Terry Hatcher for you, and we'll try and get it signed for Matt Derrick.
There you go.
Okay. All right.
That's your mission. And you know, here's the thing.
I wanted to sign my George Brett ball.
You are the one person who can say that, Sterling, and it could actually happen, because I am now convinced that within the next 12 months, you are going to be in a situation where you're going to be in a room with Terry Hatcher.
Probably
in a bar somewhere, and
she's still with us?
Doing karaoke.
She is.
She is.
She is.
You won't recognize her, but
right. So yeah, because you've got beer pong with Miles Teller, and then the and many other things in between, but the
karaoke with Paul Rudd.
Yeah. Well, and it's off the record. Okay, so we're not talking.
I heard that on air.
Oh, was that on air? Maybe there was other stories off the air. But and you know, Michael Pena, which is that's where my jealousy comes in, is karaoke with him too. To also, like, at the Big Slick, that video with Paul Rudd that went viral with the guy paying how many $100,000 to be at the premiere of the whatever Avengers movie that's coming out with Rudd as Ant-Man, and to go to the premiere in LA with Paul Rudd as a guest and then hang out afterwards. The guy paid $100,000, and Paul Rudd walks down to go and give him a hug and everything at the auction, and it's Sterling is the one right next to him, pointing to his mom, because his mom's the auctioneer, pointing to his mom like, hey, this is the guy right here. So the viral video, and Sterling's right there in the video. It's just, he's everywhere.
Sterling's everywhere.
It's so random.
Yeah.
It's
go out and do things. Live your life. That's why I'm
doing. Of all these people that we talked about, the one that you have an autograph on a shoe is Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
Oh, a shirt.
Yeah.
Nothing on a shoe.
He wouldn't sign the shoe.
Who did sign the shoe, though?
The singer of Taking Back Sunday. That was a band. Still actually really good. I like them a lot, but that was kind of mid to early 2000s.
It was very mid. Very mid. So
they're great.
Okay, you know what? It's not a sporting event, but I will say, here were my regrets. I did not go to enough concerts in college, because I know I missed out on a bunch of really good stuff. I only went to like 2 concerts in college at Mizzou, and
yeah, you missed out. The Blue Note's a great place to watch too.
Which were the 2 you went to?
And here's the thing. I mean, I did not when I never went to the Blue Note.
See, I feel like Foghat was probably in their prime about that time for you.
Foghat was
Michael, these are Columbia places that the 2 Missouri guys are
what, was
reminiscing about
Foghat not in their
places.
prime?
I went to that place too. I was 20 years after you, but we also went there.
I mean, I just remember a lot about Reverend Horton Heat, and it was like in concert every single week or something. And
Steve Miller Band, they were in their prime.
No, I mean, although I will say that the Rolling Stones played Columbia while I was in college.
Yeah, because they were in their prime. They were just getting started.
It was like Steel Wheels or something.
They were just getting their big break.
It was their first retirement tour.
Does Clink Scale hate the Rolling Stones or Pink Floyd?
The Who was just getting started. The Who was playing their first show overseas.
What about Rat?
Rat kicks ass. We can all agree on that.
I'll
go round and round with you on that.
I do remember I once again, I didn't even go to this. The only concert I remember going to in Columbia, well, two, I guess. Sheryl Crow.
Oh, obviously.
Makes sense.
Yep. And that one was really fascinating.
Mizzou reunion tour.
Because I got to my dorm room after class, and everybody was really excited. And it was like, hey, Matt, you just missed it. Sheryl Crow was in here.
With Terry Hatcher.
It wasn't with Terry Hatcher, but she was in the dorm room across the hall from me, because she met the guy, Denny, who lived across the hall with my friend Greg. I wasn't really close friends with Denny.
Who was? He was kind of an odd duck.
But Denny and his friends
Stuart Matthews
ran into Sheryl Crow, and
thanks, Sheryl.
Was like, hey, how's it going and everything, and she's like, I had to hang out with him for a while, and they were headed back to their dorm, so she just followed him back to the dorm and was chilling in the room and everything with Denny and a bunch of dudes. And
your geeky ass was at class.
Literally walked in like 2 minutes later and like, hey, Matt, you just missed Sheryl Crow. Denny also, by the way, may have told this story. He's the same guy that also caught like Mark McGuire's 60-second home run ball.
You have told me about your friend that did that. I didn't know it was the same guy that hung out with
same guy that hung out with Sheryl
Crow
Crow.
alone in a
Denny
dorm
and I
room.
live very similar lives.
And then, oh yeah, you do. You are totally Denny. And then
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Sterling.
My friend Kevin and I
Thanks, D.
went to the Sheryl Crow concert,
Yeah.
and then we tried to get autographs of Sheryl Crow afterwards, and she signed everybody's autographs, and then she completely blew us off and got on the bus. And everything, and we were very, very bitter, and so we were so bitter that we signed each other's copy of the Sheryl Crow CD. So I have a copy of Sheryl Crow CD autographed by Kevin Fletcher.
There you go. That's worth as much as that Tony Pena Jr. autograph as well.
It's possible that his CD of Sheryl Crow's Tuesday Night Music Club is more valuable than mine with his autograph. I mean, his copy with my autograph might be more valuable.
It is more valuable.
Put him on eBay.
What
and see what
happened
happens.
this segment? What happened?
It's my
Where
fault.
did we go wrong? Matt Derrick.
Well,
that was
started
my
in the
fault.
third grade.
Not to mention that you probably need to run a commercial at some point and pay for this hour.
Debatable if we need it. Mike, what are you
I'll
hearing?
get around to it.
What are you hearing about that?
We got to learn about prediction markets. Come on.
Yeah, we do, actually. You know what? Let's do that. Matt, you're the man. I appreciate you, brother. I'll talk to you next Friday. Actually, yes, I will. Maybe. We'll find out. Everybody stay tuned till next Friday to see if we have Matt Derrick on More Zone coming up next. Well, Matt, speaking of the prediction markets that are out there, the world's biggest soccer tournament is going on. It's already arrived, and we've already had 3 matches out there at Arrowhead. We have 2 more. In fact, one of those a week from today at Arrowhead in the round of 32. But we got a lot of matches today as well, and with Kalshi, you can trade the entire tournament. You can trade every match from the opening stage all the way to the final. A big matchup today with Norway and France. There are knockout stage, group stage standings implications with a number of these matches going on today, which should make it for a lot of fun for you to trade on the different markets at Kalshi. And the great thing about Kalshi is that you're trading against peers in a live market. There's no house. So as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. The percentage goes up. The money you've invested goes up. You can then sell, trade out of that position, and take the profit. The percentage you trade into, it starts to go down of that percentage of that result happening. You can trade out of that and just simply take the money left over, whatever loss it may be. Could be smaller than what the loss would have been if you just stayed and had to wait till the result was over, like you see with other places. But again, that's where the no house coming in and the peers live market trading. And for a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code Jason810. It's Jason810. You get $10 when you trade 10. Jason810. It's on Kalshi, Kalshi. Trade the beautiful game.
18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. We got the cuts coming your way before the show is over today as well. Looking forward to that. There is a massive slate of games today in the World Cup with the game coming up at 2 o'clock where France and Norway in a big one. And Holland apparently is not starting. I just saw that around some of the interwebs, so that's interesting. But a lot of games today, and then tomorrow, wrapping up group stage play, we will be, unless you're a Columbia fan, I believe we'll all be rooting for Portugal tomorrow night to win, because if Portugal wins their group, that means the round of 32 on July 3rd here in Kansas City would feature Portugal and Ronaldo. I believe that is the case.
I love this from Brandon on Twitter.
Yep.
Says, Sterling, I too have done the Ironman shot in Nebraska and thought it was fun, but you are correct. The salt is what's the worst part.
So you have to do it in Nebraska?
No, I didn't think so.
I'm confused by the whole in Nebraska
I
thing.
don't know why the Nebraska thing. I just did it again in Nebraska. But, yeah, there you go.
How about that, man? So, but he did it in Nebraska as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Huh.
That's phenomenal. I mean,
Good for you,
I don't know.
Brandon.
Is it phenomenal or not? I don't know what to think about that.
Kind of fun.
Is it though? Like, is it worth it? It's one of those to where you just did it, so you said that you did it, right?
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
It's the only reason, and then you're done with it, and you'll never do it again.
I mean, that's not the first time I've done it, but it just
So
because.
stupid.
Well, no, it's like Jackass. Like sometimes it's fun to do dumb things. Like
Yeah, but do you do them again then?
sometimes.
Like, oh my God, that hurt so bad. Can't wait to do it again. Like you start to, what are you, masochist? Like, oh my God, it hurts. So, let's do it one more time.
Some people are just addicted to the pain. Sterling, I think, is one of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He loves
That's why
it.
I'm a Mizzou fan.
He yearns for it.
That's why I went to Mizzou, baby.
Yep. That's right. But he didn't want to miss the dance. So he would have missed the pain. But you'd had to miss everything else there, which you don't want to do. Let's hear from, I want to play this clip from Jeremy Fowler. I was going to bring this up with Matt, but we had way more important things to get to the bottom of there in that segment, which was all the random autographs apparently that we stumbled onto. But Jeremy Fowler from ESPN and also New Day on Wednesday mornings, he was asked last night about the decision on Brendan Sorsby, and since the decision has come down from the NFL that they will not have a supplemental draft, Jeremy Fowler has reached out to teams and to gauge what the interest level would have been and if he would have been some sort of a hot or maybe lukewarm commodity by some teams in the supplemental draft.
Well, there was a lot of interest. I mean, teams are really high on the player. If you take the gambling situation out of it, now that's certainly a process that they need to vet. But he's considered an effortless thrower and a big-time athlete, and you don't see very many of those very often. So I believe some teams actually had a first-round grade on him. Now, they probably weren't giving up a first-round pick in the supplemental draft, which is a different dynamic. But as one team exec told me, if he were in April's draft, he probably would have been a late first-round pick. So somebody would have placed a draft pick on him in the supplemental draft had he made it there. That's a moot point now because the league just didn't see they really didn't see a compelling reason to host the draft when they got Sorsby's application pretty late in the process. Didn't really see a compelling argument as to why he should be in. So they just decided, hey, we'll see you in April if you want to be an NFL player. And so that kind of complicates matters, but there was interest for sure.
I always find myself being skeptical when we don't see a player go through the draft process and there's the feeling is this guy would have been drafted here. Because how many players do we think are going to be near the first or second round or well down the rankings and draft season happens and mock drafts, and then there's smoke and momentum behind him and pro days, and you get to the draft and you're like, man, this dude was not expected to be taken at this spot. And look at that. Good for him. People got a real good idea of what he is from whatever different reasons. Like, you go through the draft process, they are finding everything wrong with you, especially from a quarterback that has to be the face of a franchise if you get it right, especially spending a first-round draft pick on him. So I'm always skeptical when somebody says, well, there was a feeling that he was going to be, first round, like late first round if he would have come out. Then why didn't he?
And Nussmeier also was going to be a first rounder
right?
Until last year. Peter Woods was going to be number 1 overall until last year. I mean, it's also absurd and ridiculous and speculation, and you never know what his agent's feeding him as well to make it sound like.
Well, everything we've talked to was late first round, but he really wanted to play college football one more year.
Yeah, I mean, I find that extremely hard to believe.
Extremely hard to believe. Let me ask you this, though. I'm going to throw this theory out there. Any chance that because Brendan Sorsby had an idea that this sort of was brewing in the background, I'm not going to enter the NFL draft because they will absolutely find out about this stuff. It will come to light, and I won't be drafted. Yeah,
I think there's a chance. That's a really good call. I never thought of it from that perspective, but I do think there's something to it. I mean, let's be real, though, too. We're not talking about, what Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence or any of those guys did. I feel like the conversation has gone so far. He's a good quarterback, but he wasn't this elite prospect or elite dude that all of a sudden, oh, wow, look at him. Now he's a top 10 guy.
Yeah.
I think we've lost the plot a little bit just because of what did happen, and obviously the amount of money he's making is going to make this tenfold what I think it probably should be. Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do, but I'm glad that he's not playing college football. That much is the first and foremost. They wouldn't have to go through the what do teams in the Big 12 do? Do they forfeit? Does Texas Tech have to forfeit? How does that work? How does the monetary split happen with all the TV and commercial deals you have? But it also wasn't fair for him to say, well, I can't play college football, so now I got to go to the NFL. You can't just skip a level because you did something wrong, and now you miss out on the repercussions of your actions. I'm glad the NFL came out and did what they did, said what they said. I don't know what Sorsby and his camp eventually sent the NFL, but it doesn't sound like they sent him very much at all when it comes to explanations.
NFL was like, this is lacking in a lot of places, and you guys missed the boat on this.
And so I think it's fair. I think him sitting out an entire year is fair because that's what we've seen in the NFL, by the way.
Yep.
What happened to Calvin Ridley? What happened to was it Jameson Williams? They sat out a year.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what the going rate is for betting.
Yep. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. All right, wrap it up this hour. On the other side, we will talk with Alexis Guerreros from the Cooligans podcast in town, and the Breakaway Tour was in town last night. They're also hosting their podcast live around town as well, with the Orange Legion yesterday march through downtown, and then the Netherlands playing that match, and Team USA, a little watch party last night as well. So we'll talk some soccer on the other side of the break, what today's matches may bring. Netherlands resting 10 players on their team. And did the loss against Turkey matter at all? There was a fun debate this morning with Jake and Nate. They got into it a little bit this morning with what that game match meant last night. We'll do that coming up next. All right, final hour here on a Friday edition of the show. Heading up until 2 o'clock. We got the cuts before the show is over. Coming up about 1:45 or so. Thank you to Matt Derrick talking some Chiefs and other randomness that we ended up getting into with Matt, which is always great. Right now, let's talk some soccer. It gets underway an hour from now. And joining us from the Cooligans podcast, Alexis Guerreros, who was in town right now, in town last night for the breakaway tour. Alexis, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Hey, excited to be on. Thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. I did want to pass along, though, to you that the restaurant you were at yesterday with the turkey, they actually do breed the turkeys in-house.
Yeah.
And kill them and all of that stuff. It actually is all in-house.
You know what? Things are a little different out here than they are in Brooklyn, apparently.
Coop to table is what we say around here. Come on now. That was funny. If anybody wants to see that clip, it was pretty good. Alexis Guerreros is our guest. What did you think of? Did you guys make it down for the Orange Legion and the march down Grand before the match yesterday?
Unfortunately, we were already on stage, but we did sort of see it pass through the windows. What is so impressive? You guys, Kansas City has been on every major broadcast around this nation. What an impressive march to the match.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I had FOMO that I'm here doing a show, and I'm like, I got into this business so I wouldn't miss big sporting events, and here I am missing a big sporting event.
Yeah. Isn't that how it always works?
Yeah.
You end up working while everyone else is enjoying
I know,
themselves.
right? I couldn't call in sick just for an hour. That was rough. Alexis Guerreros from the Cooligans is our guest. Okay, so I want to talk about the match last night and with the U.S. and some other things, but first, I want to get your thoughts on the Norway resting pretty much all of their players in what was a really anticipated match today. I know a couple of buddies and I were going to go and watch the match right after the show here today, but I'm not sure that we're as excited for that since it looks like it's kind of just going through the motions and getting some other guys some experience. So I guess the disappointment on what the match could have been and now what it is with the backups in there for Norway.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you, and I feel the same bit of trepidation about even watching it or caring so much about the results. I guess for me, I'm going to look at can some of the Norway backups impress? Because if we're being honest, Norway's a team of 3 or 4 really big, high-level players, and then a bunch of guys just kind of gutting it out. Similar to the U.S. starting your backups, I want to see 1 or 2 people really shine. Dude, France is France. France is second. Their bench could probably reach a semifinal in the World Cup. So we already know what to expect from France. Norway, this is the first time in the World Cup in a very long time. So obviously, first for Martin Odegaard, first for Erling Haaland up front, who's incredibly impressive and dangerous. Sorloth, who's doing so much, and I feel bad because what he's doing doesn't reach the stat sheets, but man, that guy is sacrificing himself for the greater good of Norway. I'm really impressed with what Norway has, and maybe this is a chance for some of the younger guys and maybe less known guys to get, put them in the shop window, as they say in Europe.
Yeah. Visiting with Alexis Guerreros from the Cooligans podcast, and a cool story how you got into covering soccer and things like that. I like how you describe it as, you're not a soccer guy trying to be funny. You're a stand-up comedian that somehow ended up talking about soccer.
Yeah. You know what? I remember my wife told me when I started in stand-up, she goes, "You're really funny, and I think you'll have a good career in stand-up, but I really see you more as a sports broadcaster." And at the time, I had zero interest in doing that. And I was like, have you been drinking, without me seeing? Are you hiding bottles behind the bathroom, in the bathroom? Because I was like, dude, that's never going to happen. And somehow that actually just organically happened. I saw, soccer didn't have any comedians or funny people. Certainly, like people from where I'm from, like, more of an inner city background talking about the sport. So I thought, why don't I do it along with another comedian? And maybe if we're funny, we can get some of those fans out to come see us perform. And my career is flip-flopped. More comedy fans want to hear me talk about soccer than the inverse. It's been wild.
It's really cool, though. Those are some of the best things when they happen organically like that and just come about that are incredibly unexpected to take place. Last night, the United States rests a lot of their players. They get the result, or they don't get the result they wanted to against Turkey. The game, it's interesting because you guys had Nate Bukaty on your podcast today. Good friend, Nate, certainly of Sports Radio 810. And this morning on
He's right next to me eating a burger.
Is he really?
Yeah,
right? Yes. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. With Nate's ascension to his now place among soccer royalty in the world, it's now a ticket to get in places. It's like, sorry, you're not allowed. I'm like, I just show him my signed copy of his book. And it's like, oh, well, my bad. I didn't know you knew Nate, and he wrote you an inscription on his book. Come on in. We actually have a table waiting for you.
In person. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Goodfellas when they go into the restaurant through the kitchen in the back. Nate did that with us at the Power and Light District last night. The place is jammed. No one's getting in. And Nate's like, you know me. We're walking through garbage bins. We're doing whatever. But somehow we end up at the front row. I mean, Nate knows everyone in Kansas City. And if you don't know Nate, you don't know anybody in Kansas City.
100%. Also, he slices his garlic as thin as anybody I've ever seen slice his garlic. Nate does. He's got that in common with him, too. But that's great.
Nate 2 times. You got to get the papers.
Exactly right. But this morning, Jake Gutierrez, who was a goalkeeper in college, and Nate were discussing what it meant last night. And Nate was like, look, it's an exhibition. It didn't really, mean anything. And Jake was taking offense to that because it's a World Cup match. What do you make of sort of how the U.S. approached it? They didn't get the result. Did it matter at all to you in what Pochettino threw out there? Was it a game in which it was like kind of like a preseason game, or maybe a Week 18 game in the NFL where you rest your starters? I know Giants and Jets fans aren't used to that. Around Kansas City, we get used to resting your starters in Week 18. I kid. But what did you make of the strategy last night for Pochettino?
I'm a Giants fan, so I think you're 100% right about the Jets.
There you go.
I think what a luxury for the first time in my life as a massive soccer fan, that we get to a game in the World Cup that doesn't matter. That's never been the case for the U.S. men's national team. It's been the case a lot of times for the women's team because they've been so amazing, but never have I seen that with the men's team. I mean, I kind of disagree a little bit in the sense that I wanted them to win. I wanted the backups to prove that push comes to shove, they were just as good as the front line, if you will, the A team. And I know they don't like hearing the A or B team, but it is what it is. It's a little unfortunate, but, I look at it a lot like friendlies, and it's insane to say that a match in the group stage of a World Cup was a friendly, but what could we pull that's positive from it? We saw some big names. Austin Trusty proves to the world, outside of a little bit of an injury he got. What a player, and I love him. He's a Celtic player. He played for Arsenal for a little bit, left-footed center back. We don't have many of those. And our other center back that he may have to replace is 38 years old, so 37, 38 years old. So there's a chance we may see more of Austin Trusty, and I think he proves to the world he can play. And then there was obviously some negatives. Giving up a goal literally in the last kick of the game is such a gut-wrenching way to end a game because it was fairly positive up until that point.
Do you believe in the quote-unquote momentum? Because Pochettino was, he scoffed at that. I don't really believe in it either. But do you believe in the, man, you wanted to win so you could keep that momentum going, getting ready for that knockout round?
This is my favorite part about sports is that, let's ask a fat Cuban guy from New York what he thinks about whether the coach of the U.S. men's national team was right or wrong. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the topic we covered on our show as well. And in the back of my head, I'm like, he has a plan. He knows 3 or 4 steps ahead of what's happening and what he wants to do. So if he says we shouldn't worry about momentum, buddy, I'm going to listen to him.
Yeah.
Whatever you think, coach, you are the guy. And I don't know if you saw news broke that an offer had been made to Pochettino to extend his contract. I am begging for that man to sign on the dotted line because I know every coach across the world. I can tell you who's on pace to be at his level or is already there. And there's no one right now that I would trust his team with more. And clearly the players trust him, so I hope he stays.
Do you think that will happen? It sort of seemed like Pochettino was sort of dead set, like this is a one-and-done World Cup for me. Coach the U.S., World Cup's over, I'll move on. But maybe if there's enough success and there's a nice little run, maybe it has him coming back. Do you think there is a chance that he'll sign that contract to stay on until 2030?
Yeah, this feels a lot like an arranged marriage, but it looks like the two parties are starting to fall in love a little bit.
I like that.
It's kind of how it feels, It's like if your significant other starts to work out, you're like, oh, no, they're leaving me, as opposed to, oh, cool, now my wife's going to have, whatever, abs or BBL, whatever. I don't know what you guys are into out here. To me, it's like, we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. If we do really well, he's probably going to get a bunch of job offers.
Yeah.
But the better we do, maybe the more likelihood he stays. And that I'm kind of holding out hope. Maybe it's just my, American exceptionalism and my, true belief that why would you fall in love with these players? My only fear is, does he think he can do better? Let's say we do get to a quarterfinal or a semifinal. He may not. He may look around and go, you know what? The next crop of guys coming up aren't as good as the main guys. So maybe this is the best they're going to do, and I should bow out now.
It's interesting.
My hope is he stays, and maybe he can change the culture of the sport in this country with the way we develop players very differently than they do in Europe and in South America. And maybe maybe he can influence us more than we can influence him.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, look, this has been the most exciting that I've exciting sort of group of players that I've watched and experienced with the World Cup. And I don't have the passionate background that a lot of people do of watching, soccer other than Sporting and the Current and the U.S. men's national team. But, it's great to hear others that follow it and watch it for their jobs that feel the same way. And I saw somebody last night tweet something out, and I wanted to ask you that because I thought it was an interesting way of phrasing it. He said the U.S. reserves look like what the U.S. starters did 20 years ago. It's something around that. Point. Is that what you think, too? Like last night we saw the reserves, and it was like, well, that's what the team used to look like. Now those are the backups.
Yeah, that's a great point that I hadn't really thought about. I think it's for people who are, and I think a lot of times this happens during World Cups, a lot of people start to get into the sports that weren't before. And in this country, we look at sports very much as like athletic prowess. And in soccer, you have to have a certain level of IQ. Like a great athlete, a great soccer player can become a great athlete, but a great athlete can't necessarily become a great soccer player that easily. It doesn't always translate. And what we used to have was a team of athletes and a couple of people sprinkled in that had a high-level IQ. Sir Alex Ferguson, a very famous manager who managed Manchester United, a lot of people will say is the greatest manager of all time. When he said he loved America and he loved spending time here and he got to see a lot of the players, he said that Americans have square feet, but they have hearts that don't stop, meaning they can only run in one direction. They don't have the skill to sort of dance, if you will, in the midfield, but they don't stop running, so they can always beat you in the 70th, 80th minute, 90th minute. We're past that now. We've turned the corner as a nation, and we're looking at players that know how to play the game, know to be in the right position. And, let me give some credit to the fans. They know when to cheer and when not to. That used to be a big deal. I used to hate going to soccer bars because people would woo anytime the ball got kicked, and I'm like, buddy, nothing is happening. You guys are annoying me, But I wanted fans in the game, and now I think we've all developed a little bit. I think this World Cup has exposed the fact that Americans are a little bit more savvy to the sport, and our players are damn good.
It's interesting. It's like going to a baseball game, and it's like a lazy fly ball to the outfield across. I'm like, come on, man! You heard the bat. You heard that was hollow. All right, there was nothing solid about that hit. They ain't going anywhere. All right. Plus the wind's blowing in.
You knew from the ping. You knew from the ping. You're like, buddy, that's left field.
No, come on, man. That's a wind's blowing in, and it's 40 degrees outside. That's going to be a can of corn out there.
It's such a sports city. I love it.
Yes, it's great, man. It's so much fun. It's why I love doing what I do. Like sometimes the most difficult thing for me is choosing what to talk about, not trying to find something to talk about. Which is a nice thing to have. Alexis Guerreros from the Cooligans podcast is our guest. Was there a couple of quick ones, and we'll let you go. Was there something maybe positive that came from last night, even in a loss? And I'm not a big momentum fan either, but was there a positive to take away that you saw last night that will, maybe help them in the round of 32?
Yeah, I think I mentioned Austin Trusty on the back line. I think that was a big positive. But I'll give you another one, and that's Sebastian Berhalter. There was a lot of conversation about whether MLS guys have reached a high enough level, face enough good competition to really be a significant part of this tournament and should be trusted. And that's a conversation we could have, and we could probably talk about it ad nauseum, and there's good points on both sides. I tend to lean on, if you are coming in from MLS, it's because you're putting yourself in the shop window, and you've shown inklings of being able to play at a higher level, and maybe this gets you that move to either Europe or somewhere else. Sebastian Berhalter, I think, absolutely did that. The guy has one of the most beautiful corners that he takes. The ball always gets into a good spot. It's got a nice whip on it. It's weighted perfectly. And Christian Pulisic, the biggest star on the team, used to take the corners, and the guy stinks at it. I love him, but that's not his game. And he was asked to do it mainly because he's sure how else he can help us. Having Sebastian Berhalter there, I think if he comes in, he's proven he's a gamer. He got his first assist and his first goal in a World Cup. Absolute incredible vibes. I'm really happy for him, and I can't wait to see more of him.
Yeah, it's that was cool last night to see that happen and get that goal, and especially how it happened. It's just so slick when your kick is off the ground on purpose.
Oh,
it's just beautiful.
Buddy, you could give me 1 million attempts at that, and I'll have to buy you a new windshield before I get the ball big enough.
No chance. My foot is going to dig into the ground on the follow through. That's a better chance of that than that ball skipping and actually picking up miles per hour after it hits the ground.
The only thing I can promise you is I'll need a nice bath app.
Absolutely. Alexis Guerreros is our guest. Last one for you. How far do you think they go? Is this a quarterfinal team? Is it round of 32? Is it a semifinal team? I don't know.
Based on, I said this and people thought I was crazy. I said we should be thinking semifinal.
Whoa.
The greatest that the U.S. has ever done in the modern era is a quarterfinal. In 1930, we finished in third place. I don't think we get to third place yet again, but if we're not looking at semifinal or bust, we're not really watching this team play. They've proven that they belong in that. And to me, it's always essential when a national team can play like a club team. That means that they've done something significant, and that's where we're at right now. Austria does the same thing, but they're missing a little bit of firepower. Japan does it as well. I think the U.S., out of all the teams that can play like a club team, I think they can go the furthest. So I'm thinking semifinal.
That's awesome. Would love for that to happen. That would go a long way. And maybe that keeps Pochettino. Who knows? And maybe
I hope so.
Yeah, maybe somebody will then congratulate him because he's.
You know what we need? We need someone to go dig up bad photos of Pochettino that he doesn't want released, and then we could make him stay here.
That's exactly right. That's fine. We can do that in America too. Like
blackmail. It's the American way.
Yes, come on.
Who can do that better than us? Nobody.
Americans find a way. All right, find a way through. Alexis,
let's just Photoshop him on the Epstein list. I'm joking. I'm only kidding.
Does it keep him around?
Where was Rossini?
Is Diana Rossini breaking the Pochettino story? I'm not sure.
Oh boy, she'll definitely find ways to keep him. I'll tell you that.
Alexis Guerreros, the Cooligans. Hey, I appreciate you coming on, man, and I enjoy the show. Enjoy your meal with Nate Bukaty, and maybe we'll catch up before the World Cup is over again, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm getting off at the right time. He's about to eat my burger.
I knew it. Thank you, Alexis.
Thank you.
Absolutely. There's Alexis Guerreros. Go check it out, the Cooligans. They do a great job on the podcast. They're here in Kansas City. The Breakaway Tour was last night that they were the MCs and hosts of. They did their podcast live. Today they did their podcast live here in Kansas City with one Nate Bukaty on their podcast with them. So, yes, Pochettino was offered a contract through 2030. It's an interesting way he described it because it's true. When he took over the team, it felt like an arranged marriage. You're bringing this guy in to hopefully take advantage of, quote unquote, the golden age of these players at the same time. But after the World Cup, he's leaving. He's going somewhere else. So it didn't feel like it had.
Where's he going to go? Just into the night?
Well, just get a job in the Premier League or somewhere else that he's going to then, capitalize on this.
Yeah.
But now they've offered him a contract to 2030 because clearly you've seen the results. The issue may be, like, if they lay an egg in the round of 32 and they lose to Bosnia, you might want to rescind that offer pretty quickly. I doubt that would be the case.
Well, in fairness, we're playing two countries.
Yeah, but we
Bosnia and Herzegovina.
But we took all the states and we united them for this match.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
We didn't individualize states to go and compete in this match. We united every one of the states. We brought them together. They're united, and it's probably going to take two countries to knock those 50 states off.
Anytime I hear Bosnia, I think of Blue Mountain State. You ever been to Bosnia, son?
Yeah, we don't need the rest
you
of that.
You ever been to Bosnia?
I don't know. I'm just my recollection says we don't want to hear the rest of that scene.
It's not not quite radio friendly, but if you've watched Blue Mountain State and know the Bosnia reference,
yeah.
Real treat. Real funny.
Yeah, just take his word for it. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. Speaking of Pochettino, the clip last night after the match was over, he wasn't too happy with the line of questioning last night with the U.S. losing to Turkey A with USA's Team B out there. We'll play the clip. And Pochettino, man, I think he's perfectly suited for a college basketball or football head coaching job. Once we hear this clip, you'll know what I'm talking about next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you to Alexis Guerreros, Matt Derrick joining us today. We've talked about the Royals and the Seth Lugo problem that they have on their hands. That it was a man with 50-plus starts and a 3 ERA, signed the contract extension, and almost immediately, 22 starts since then, a 5.3 ERA, 1.5 WHIP. He has 117 innings pitched in those 22 starts, so just over 5 innings per outing is what he's averaging, with 90 strikeouts and 48 walks in that time. It's been rough for Seth Lugo. So we talked about that. We talked about the Major League Baseball salary cap and what the owner's proposal, or at least what their strategy is going to be in trying to, or selling point for getting a salary cap, in that the salary growth in the other major sports that have a salary cap has been a quicker, more exponentially faster growing salary to the players than it has in baseball. And, you can look at what Paul Skeens or Kyle Tucker, what they're going to get on the open market, as opposed to the middle ground or the lower level players that their salary can increase. At least that's the selling point. We'll see if that ends up happening. So we talked about that as well. George Kittle talking about the NFL teams going out of their way to make it all grass surfaces for the World Cup, and that when the NFL comes around, they don't care as much and put the turf out there. And we discussed that, what that would mean, but also you're going to have to fight for it in the CBA, which means you may have to give up something. So the U.S. in action last night, they lose to Turkey. And once we found out that they were resting so many different guys, especially all the guys on a card, you knew that they were going to rest those particular players, except for, when they don't have a certain position and depth at a certain spot. But you would have liked to see them go out and win the match. They had opportunities. That goal late, was frustrating and annoying and all of that stuff. There were a lot of questions to Pochettino after the match was over about momentum and should you have played your guys and all these different things that were there. This was the final 30 seconds to a minute of his press conference, and then letting them know, okay, we're done, after winning the group stage, although we didn't know that when they won their previous match. We found that out later on that night, but now we know they have won their group stage and they're getting ready for the knockout round. Here's Pochettino and the frustration with some of the line of questioning.
We decide to play with different, players, but I think that is very important, and I think it's very positive to finish in the way that we finish. Cannot be possible, I'm sorry guys, it cannot be possible that Turkey finish celebrating the 3-point and Australia celebrating the qualification, Paraguay celebrating the qualification, and come here and for you not to say congratulations that we won the group. That is a little bit sad, but only that. I need to remember you and everyone that we won the group. Sorry, guys. We won.
No congratulations, and that's kind of sad that you guys haven't congratulated us on winning the group here as the media members. I'll tell you what, he'd be perfect as a college coach, because you're going to get the media that's there with the college media. They're going to congratulate you.
Yeah.
You know what? Great job. This doesn't matter. You're going to have all the stuff out there that, the coach has never made a mistake. It's perfectly fine, although I am on board with this, that I'm fine with him getting some other guys reps that, wouldn't typically get a chance to play because injuries happen or other things may take place, so you get a guy out there. But I remember you that we won the group, which is, I love the lost in translation, some of the terms that are used instead of let me remind you. I remember you that we won the group. Sorry, but we won the group. But no congratulations, and that is sad that you haven't congratulated us on winning the group, and it's all been about momentum and this guy, and why didn't you play your main goalkeeper, even though, yes, you're trying to get other guys minutes, but that's another opportunity for him to get minutes if that's your main guy and get more experience. Yet you haven't started any of these questions with a congratulations?
So I get where he is coming from. In the grand scheme of things, the game really didn't matter at all. I do understand. I think the way the game ended and how it started makes it feel a little like that. When you start off, you score an early goal, it's electric, the place is rocking, and you do want to finish 3-0. There's something to it. I do think there's a momentum aspect of it. We talk about all the time in different sports, NFL, baseball, the layoff of your guys, right? We talk about it all the time in baseball. Sometimes the team that gets that first round bye in baseball, we're now a little rusty heading into the next round. That's just not how it works in the United States. That's not how the media isn't there to congratulate you. You're right, college, they do. But
get yourself
in
a college
professional sports, you just don't operate that way. I get it. You might be a little frustrated because you did get first place in your group, and that's not how it's starting. I do think there's probably a little bit of translation where it comes off a certain way versus this is how it was meant to be delivered.
Because I listened, I heard that, he had, was annoyed and said there's no congrats, which is sad. I'm like, well, you know what? There's a lost in translation stuff. We've seen that. English is a second language or third language. A lot of Europeans speak 2, 3, 4 languages. So let me go back and listen and hear. And I didn't really find the questions and maybe that's where, but I don't think our media is any harsher than the freaking media with Premier League teams and the media to the South Korea coach. I mean, every question was, why do you suck? Do you think you should resign now or when you get back home? When should you quit? Do you feel like you let the country down? Why did you make the mistake? What were you thinking here? They destroyed him in that press conference. Again, we talked about it. Managers in soccer make NBA head coaches feel like they are long tenured, Joe Torres for the Yankees and Ned Yost for the Royals, coaching Bill Self in Kansas. They were just coaching forever. He only coached 4 years. Yeah, but that guy in Premier League coached for 5 minutes and they fired him. That was kind of the odd part, is he's from sort of the culture where, at least from afar, it seems like there's a whole lot more of second guessing and being more direct in the line of questioning in that particular sport, but maybe not in the a national team where he's taken over and going, guys, you understand what I just did for you?
Went 2-0, started the backups. Yeah, it'd be nice.
And without the final goal, we tied Turkey that was playing for pride, and we were playing our backups, and we were that good that we still tied that team. We won the group stage. We went 2 games in group stage for the first time ever. This game didn't matter for the first time ever. We set the record for goals scored in a group stage for United States in history. There's probably a little bit, not hey, sort of the soccer culture of some questions being more pointed and direct, other than, dude, why aren't you guys more grateful for what I'm doing for this team and what I was able to get out of these players that you guys have been searching for forever, and we're doing that right now, and you're really complaining about a game that didn't matter where I played other guys and we lost on a literal last-minute goal where it would have been a tie, and yeah, some things could have been better, but we didn't play our main guys, and now we're getting ready for the round of 32.
Well, I do think it's a little bit, if an NFL one that might be easier, when the Chiefs set their guys against the Broncos won. Now, obviously, it's a lot different. That was a ass-kicking, and this was a very, very close match. But to an extent of, yeah, it doesn't matter, but also you want to see him do something. It felt like for us, I think, at least my perspective watching, those backup defensemen looked unplayable.
It was rough. That's
probably my main takeaway was, okay, I see the backup defensemen, those guys can't be in there in other matches, and maybe that's actually a good thing you learn now, right? You learn that now, so you don't have to find that out when the game's on the line and say, hey, we want to sub for this guy. No, keep him in there.
Yep.
I'm good. We saw what it looks like. We're fine.
Yeah.
And so there are some obviously positives you can take away. I just don't think that in that moment you're going to sit there and go, you just had kind of a heartbreaking loss, even with backups being like, congratulations,
yes, Coach. But also, and
maybe it's different. It could be a culture too.
I was annoyed because they had the draw, especially if you had U.S. to win or draw as part of like a parlay or something. So yeah, that last goal was annoying, certainly from that standpoint, but it didn't matter. It could have been a whole lot worse, and you could have teams that needed a draw simply lose. Canada went from playing in their backyard to playing Mexico at Azteca. That's a massive difference.
Correct.
I mean, that is a massive difference in what their result was. That's where you'd have some real questions and issues. And as we said, the South Korean coach that sat one of their stars and then, made a sub late, and that sub was pretty ticked off about it and got into it with some of the coaches when he was brought off the field. And then they end up losing that game and they're eliminated. So, look, this is a position the U.S. has never been in before, where their third game, it doesn't matter because their spot is already taken care of. They have won the group, and you can get ready for Bosnia coming up on July 3rd. Or July 1st, excuse me. July 1st. July 3rd is here in Kansas City. But July 1st against Bosnia, that's already set. And then, it's not a layup, but you damn sure better get past them. And then we can start talking about what the next rounds look like in the 16 or round of 8. We'll take a timeout. Let's come back, and we'll get into the cuts on the other side of the break. More Zone coming up next. All right, we're handing it off to the program when we are done here at 2 o'clock, and the World Cup action today gets started with Norway taking on France, and Norway playing a lot of their subs today. So we'll see what happens in that one. France has looked incredibly impressive anyway. So we'll see what happens with that particular match. The program, though, comes up after we are done, and then we got a little best of coming your way tonight. Royals start a 3-game set against the White Sox. News around the Royals, no longer Stephen Kolek pitching?
Mitch Spence.
Okay.
Paternity, having a kid. Kolek.
Paternity having a kid. That's the exact...
Yeah, I was telling you how it was worded. I put it down, but yeah, paternity, having a kid.
Paternity, that's what the Royals said.
Paternity leave.
The Royals like, Stephen Kolek has been scratched from tonight's start, paternity having a kid, and Mitch Spence has been recalled in his stead, and he'll pitch
Being a dad.
Old daddy. All right, so let's get the cuts going here on this Friday.
Did you guys see people viciously attacking Garrick on social media yesterday?
No.
Or what?
Yesterday? I think I tweeted at the hospital.
What were you doing tweeting about soccer at the hospital?
just waiting. Night duty.
Only so much you can do.
That was 2 days ago.
Night duty.
You want to hear these comments?
I want to hear what he said.
Soccer has to be right at the bottom of the list next to pickleball for watchability. If I want a nap, I'll throw on some soccer. No, but what are you criticizing? Aren't you an
He's not wrong.
ambassador for pickleball? And
He's not wrong.
Pickle?
I mean, the game can end in a tie.
I've said it a million times. Pickleball is so fun to play. Probably one of the most fun sports to play, but it's not good to watch.
Now, do you want to hear the mean tweets of him?
Yes.
Great points on YouTube.
Are you sure?
I do.
Okay. Watching you play is a close second. Listening to you on 810 is first.
Oh, okay. All right.
You're welcome. Free pub for the show.
Right. If we want to fall asleep, we'll watch your NFL highlights.
You better fall asleep fast.
Sherman getting involved.
Not as much of a snooze fest as watching your career in the NFL.
Doesn't do it for me, but I'm a positive guy, so.
Very positive.
Yeah. Kansas man.
Dude.
Kind of like your weekly segment on 810.
That was good, guy.
Whenever I feel stupid, I just scroll Gary Dieter's feed and instantly feel better.
People are getting after
When you played football, I felt the same way about you. Just flat out boring.
So soccer sucks. Yeah, okay.
Oh, this is. Should I read? I can.
Yeah.
This is a bad one.
Is it?
Oh.
Well, this goes in. Are you sure?
Read it.
Did you ask Patrick if he could tweet this before you hit send?
That was a good one. That was a good one.
You think that's funny?
Did you ask?
I haven't seen Sherman laugh that hard in 2 or 3 years.
It's a fake laugh.
Why is he laughing so hard?
That was quite funny.
Why is he laughing
That's
so
a
hard?
fake laugh.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a fake laugh.
I like that one.
Oh, people went in on him. Went in on him. Did Patrick say you could tweet that?
Really the rest of the countries are the SEC.
Okay.
To them, soccer, it just means more. Play Freebird. Yes. I'm telling
Get on or get out of the freaking way.
If you bleep and play this during the hydration break, the Americans will be going insane. The other countries, the French, during their smoke break, during the hydration period where they eat their baguettes, they'll have no idea what hit them.
They're so good, they've already earned their spot. They're the number 1 seed, and they're playing a team that's got a top 5 pick in the draft. Excuse me, Turkey's already eliminated. They're playing a team that's already got the number 1 pick in the draft. Week 18, number 1 seed. They can go out there and just mess around.
They're sitting Mahomes against the Raiders right now.
They can ice cube this in a great day and mess around and get a triple-double and not even care about being out there playing. They can rest their guys on a card because that's American soccer. That's how good they are. All these other teams, we got to play a third match in our pool play to try to see how we're going to get. You know what the Americans don't have to do? That. It's just facts.
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 Smoke break.
My mouth's empty. Talk to me.
Don't call me daddy.
Mick. We choke our own chickens.
Well, yeah.
Strouds does.
That makes sense, yeah.
Or is it like you don't do that?
Tapper?
He has been for years.
I was kind of wondering that. This is what I did. When people go to tap my paddle, I give them the butt.
Have you guys played it all together, or have you tried to
Who, Sherman?
Yeah.
No.
Sherman's got no backhands. Just FYI. It's a little stiff. He gets wrist locked a lot.
You have a problem with the wrist lock?
You a banger?
No,
listen.
no.
A dinker?
What is he?
He's got soft hands.
Nice. Do some dinking?
Yeah, well, we'll do whatever.
Was broken up with a 2-run home run by Carter Jensen. Oh, God. What would have been a combined no-hitter for the Rays? They were 2 outs away from a combined no-hitter. Carter comes up and extends his hitting streak to 16 games now.
Yay.
It's
good for Carter, but that was a bad game. That was one of the worst games
we have
seen
rough
the Royals
It was a rough game.
ever play.
Now, they were very distracted now. My watch just sent a text to Carter Jensen.
What'd it say?
It says, what would have been a combined no-hitter for the Rays?
Oh!
They were 2 outs away from a combined no-hitter until Carter comes up and extends his hitting streak to 16 games with a 2-run home run.
Can you delete that?
It's already sent.
Can you delete the sent message?
How do you do that?
I don't know, but
just hits you with
that's
the
awkward,
exclamation point.
Dude, that's awkward.
Emphasizes the message.
That is so awkward. It somehow he showed me it.
That's
Jason
bad.
just sent a. Well, luckily it was that. Could have been worse. Could have been me saying how bad that game was.
It's true.
Now, at least Carter did his job.
Yeah,
Carter did his job.
Yeah, I'm now sending him a text.
Hey, can we get you on the show? Not the time.
Here's my text to him. I texted, said, that was apparently sent from my watch while talking about your 2-run home run today. So, congrats on the hit streak extension and the 2-run shot. But also sorry for the random
You
text.
are digging that hole's getting deeper.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know if that's better.
I always would have said sorry. My watch accidentally sent that message.
I'll just say that. Well, that's why the watch sent the message. I mean,
I literally would just have said sorry. My watch accidentally sent a message while talking on air. Hope all is well.
No, congrats on the hit streak and going to 16 games in the home run. But sorry about the random text while talking about you on the air.
Yeah. No, I'm sure that is fine.
That's also terrifying that you didn't say, hey, Siri, text.
No kidding.
We were just talking. You referenced the name Carter Jensen.
Yes.
Should I be quiet? I don't know if it's going to send a text.
The only reason I know that is because my watch popped up and it has a blue square and it says Carter. And then it said, what would have been, like, what? And then I looked at it, I pulled it up on my phone, like, no way that would have sent that. And it did. I just sent it in. I don't care what you guys say. I just sent that message. I think it's fine. If I didn't know him,
I know,
then it'd be like, oh, that's weird, awkward, man. But I think a little different there from that standpoint.
Sure, you do you, baby. Dig another hole.
It'd be a hard one to
I don't think
explain
that's
as
digging a hole,
butt
though.
dial, a butt text.
It obviously would, because it says, what would a bit of combined no-hitter for the Rays 2 hours away from a combined no-hitter? Carter comes up, extends heading streak to 16 games now. So clearly that's not something I would just randomly text him.
Well, and he knows you're a big drinker.
There's an update to that, and I would like to say that I was definitely right on that. You guys said digging a hole. As I sent that text to Carter, he replied when he got into Chicago last night, crying laughing emoji. That's funny. All good. Appreciate it. No hole dig. This is the hole right here. I'm gonna make my own hole. It's through this man's body.
Wow, Jason.
Huh? Me and Pacheco, we got things in common, man.
Rubbing it in.
I watched it on the tube as well.
What?
Is that right?
What?
I don't know.
Rubbing it in.
I watched it on the tube as well.
What happened?
I don't know.
I wanted to be on that streak, though.
The 16-game hitting streak?
Well, yeah, but you called it a heading streak.
A heading straight is what it was called. It was a comes up and extends heading straight to 16 games now.
I'll take it.
Butt texted you. Sorry about that.